Well, if it is our wonderful podcast listener, the ones that all of us on Hams love the most. Dana here to give you a little gentle reminder to hit up our friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning and tune up that AC before it fully turns into crotch soup season. June through August are Standard's busy season for getting AC units up to snuff, so get ahead of the curve and have them ensure you don't have a summer where you pit out every shirt you own. Book in May during their pre-summer heat savings event, and you'll beat the rush and save yourself some walking around money. Call Standard Heating today or visit standardheating.com. Enjoy the show. We sincerely appreciate you checking us out each and every day.
93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
You gotta be kidding me. Who greenlit this garbage?
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Here's just a random list of some of the best action movies of the 2020s. That's where we're at right now. Living in the 2020s, like the old, what was his name, James Brown song. Tenet, I Ain't Got Time to Die. That's a James Bond movie. I Ain't Got Time to Die. Spider Nuts, No Way Home. Dune Part 2. Sissy Ass, John Wick, Chapter 4. Avatar, We Want Water, I think it's called. Avatar, We Want Water.
Yep.
Top Gun, Maverick on the Loose. And Furiosa, a Mad Max saga. That's just a random pile of...
Saw a couple of those.
Okay.
I've seen them all except for the Mad Max one.
I was reading something here a day or two ago, Josh, and it reminded me of you. Movies, action movies specifically, from the 1980s that are too silly to take seriously. And it made me think of you because a couple of these are ones that I know you said you really, really loved as a kid. And there's a lot of movies that we really loved as children or teenagers even, and then you see it as a grown person and you ask yourself, my God, what the hell was I so excited about? So they go on and on about the, obviously the 1980s were massive when it comes to action movies, incredible star power. They say here, as seen in franchises like Die Hard and Rocky. Rocky's not an action movie. At least I wouldn't call it an action movie by definition, but I know you were a big Die Hard fan, Josh.
Mm-hmm. First two especially.
It goes on to say, well, some of these movies managed to earn the respect of critics and audiences. Others are just too silly to earn any kind of real acclaim, and they've become cult films. They say that the genre action movies are currently in the process of a stylish renaissance. I couldn't speak on that. But they note the fun involved in looking back at the heyday of silly action movies. So, like I said, I know for a fact that these are some of your all-time favorites. And feel free to text in 651-989-9393 if you got in mind one of your favorite. Doesn't necessarily have to be 80s silly action movies. Could be from any era. But the 80s are what we're focusing on here. Tango and Cash.
That was a fun movie.
I never saw that movie.
Oh, God. Tango and Cash.
I remember it being very popular.
From 1989. It's just absolutely ridiculous. I mean, it's Sly Stallone, it's Kurt Russell. Those are two of my favorites of all time. And they're both still young. And they're, for you ladies out there, they're just cut beyond belief. You know, they both were probably just pouring steroids into their body before they shot this film. And it's just, you know, buddy cop. One guy's straighter than a Grizzlies D. The other one's like the outlaw cop.
That's the recipe.
And my favorite part about Tango and Cash, and there's just so much of this in the movie, is they're on the verge of being electrocuted to death in prison, and they cannot stop with the jokes. Cannot stop with the one-liners. Flash Gordon. Anybody?
Nope.
Never heard of it.
No, I just know it from the movie Ted.
Oh, yeah.
That's the only thing I know about Flash Gordon is from that movie.
What do you mean? You never heard of the cartoon character, the comic book character?
Vaguely, but...
Well, I'm asking Ashley.
Oh, okay.
You never heard of the comic book character Flash Gordon?
Nope.
Well, I don't blame you, I guess. He's not Superman. He's not Incredible Hulk and some of these When I was a little kid, I loved Flash Gordon because it is so cheap. Well, I guess I shouldn't say cheaply made because I think at the time it was cutting-edge stuff. It's so cartoonish and so tongue-in-cheek. I really loved it. And, of course, the entire soundtrack is Queen, so that also drew me in back in 1980 when Flash Gordon came out.
I don't know your... Go ahead.
It got a pretty high rating on Rotten Tomatoes. Got an 83%, so that's pretty good.
Okay, all right. Commando from 1985. You loved Commando.
I haven't seen it.
Oh, what?
I've never seen Commando.
Oh, maybe I'm thinking of Predator.
I love Predator.
You loved Predator?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, really? Oh, well, Commando is ridiculous. Arnold Schwarzenegger. I believe in the movie his daughter is portrayed by, what was that gorgeous lady who started off on Who's the Boss with Tony Danza?
Alyssa Milano?
Alyssa Milano. It's cheesy. I mean, one of the interesting elements to action movies, at least I don't know what they're like now, but back in the 80s, the star of the movie, the hero of the movie, could do absolutely anything. Fly a helicopter, you name it. Do a backflip in a tank.
Sometimes that's annoying. I've noticed.
Oh, it is annoying.
Even in movies I really like, it's like, okay, he can operate anything.
Anything. Drive a semi-truck.
Yeah, he can
at
fly
80
a fighter jet.
Right.
He can do a jump on a motorcycle. He can drift in some sort of sports car.
Right. If I'm not mistaken, in Commando, it's so ridiculous. Of course, Schwarzenegger plays a retired special forces type character. In the beginning of the movie, he jumps from a passenger jet down to the ground.
That's impressive.
Jumps out of a jet, and he lives to go on and then fight 75 guys at once. It's got great one-liners.
They all did back then.
Oh, that was the key to it. Roadhouse.
That's a great one.
I liked the new one quite a bit.
Never saw it. Patrick Swayze, Roadhouse, 1989. They say that its laughable premise and absurd dialogue has effectively made it a modern meme. And they say Family Guy had a role in that.
One of my favorite episodes.
Cobra.
Oh, boy, that movie scared the hell out of me as a kid.
A lot of Stallone stuff and Schwarzenegger stuff in here. Cobra, 1986.
That movie terrified me. To the point where I thought, as soon as I get my license, if I'm rear-ended, I'm just going to keep on going. That was their style.
Cobra.
Some terrible stuff happened in that movie.
I don't blame you. It scared you. You were pretty young when that came out. I mean, I thought it was just horrible.
They're making a Cobra 2, by the way.
Oh, no. Cobra. Sly plays Marion Cobra Cobretti. He's an elite detective in charge of protecting a witness from a dangerous cult. And the dangerous cult that roamed the streets in Cobra, their weapon of choice were axes. They'd kill everyone in town with an axe, but Cobra put a stop to that.
And he had a gun. It looks like
I'm
on
sure
the cover.
I'm sure he had a gun. I mean, it was an 80s action movie.
That's what I mean.
Toothpick.
So he should be able to
He had a toothpick in his yap.
get it done.
He had a gun and a toothpick.
He'd wear, what do you call those style of sunglasses again, Josh?
Aviators?
He'd wear aviators in the dead of night. Cobra. Conan the Destroyer.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one either.
1984, back to Schwarzenegger again. Conan the Barbarian. I was in love with that movie. I think that came out maybe in 81 or 82. And it's brutally violent, kind of scary if you're a kid. And so when Conan the Destroyer came out, at that point I was, 13 or 14 years old, so I was very much looking forward to it, and it's just piss poor. It's just awful. Kickboxer, 1989. Was that Jean-Claude Van Damme or was it Rob Van Dam that was in Kickboxer?
It was not
RVD.
Rob Van Dam.
RVD.
It was Jean-Claude?
Yes.
My brother was really into the over-the-top karate, kickboxing, blood sport type movies. I never got really dialed into that. But that is mentioned in this article of 80s action movies that are too silly to take seriously. They say about Kickboxer, I'm sure I'd recognize it if you played it for me. What they say about Kickboxer is the movie is, in effect, one feature-length training montage, and it's glorious. They all had to have a montage. A couple of these I'm not familiar with. Maybe one or two of you folks are, or our listening audience. Hard Ticket to Hawaii was an action movie made in 1987.
That sounds made up.
It does. At one point or another, the heroes in the movie have to fight a mutated radioactive snake.
What in
Well,
the
because
world?
of course they did.
Fire Walker, 1986, Josh. This was Chuck Norris and Lou Gossett Jr.
I like Lou Gossett. I mean, I don't have anything against Chuck Norris, but I never really watched much of anything he was in.
Lou Gossett? What about an officer?
No, Chuck Norris.
Oh, Chuck Norris. Neither did I. That's something that some of my friends have a real problem with, that I never became a Chuck Norris fan, even though I'm in the right age group to where I should have watched all of his.
I have no idea why I haven't. I have nothing against the guy.
I'll tell you, I have a reason, and it makes no sense, and it's totally unfair. I didn't like the look of the guy.
He doesn't look like your average action hero.
I just his look in general aggravated me. There was something about his appearance that aggravated me. There are people like that for me. Steven Tyler from Aerosmith. Can't look at the guy. Chuck Norris was that character for me. It makes no sense, but that's the only excuse I can give you as to why I never got into his movies. So Chuck Norris and Lou Gossett Jr. are a pair of treasure hunters in the movie Firewalker. They call it a silly, albeit charming, jungle adventure between the two of them. And this is where I'm going to get Cubby deep down into his soul. I don't think you're going to be happy to find out on this list of 80s movies that are too silly to take seriously. From 1986, Iron Eagle.
Yeah, I loved that. And I even liked Iron Eagle too. I wanted to be that kid in that movie. A few people, including the original Toolmaker Jesus, are texting in saying, "Yeah, I know it's garbage, but Iron Eagle."
Iron Eagle, which came out the same year as Top Gun.
That's part of its lack of success. I mean, it became kind of a cult classic, but yeah, I mean, you can't compete with Top Gun if you're a fighter jet movie.
But it still made a ton of money. I mean, I remember seeing it everywhere. At least my assumption is it made a ton of money. But I always assumed maybe it came out a couple years after Top Gun and it was just a straight-up ripoff.
No, it's the same.
Came out the same year. Here's what they say about Iron Eagle, and I never saw it all the way through. A young man teams up with his dad's old friend to fly a fighter jet into enemy territory to rescue his father. They say the movie is impossible to take seriously. It defies logic every step of the way. A laughable premise and nonstop 80s cheese. And my favorite critical statement on the movie Iron Eagle would be, it's been torn to shreds by anyone with the most basic understanding of aviation.
Well, just also the fact that would never work in real life. That kid would have been dead instantaneously.
Oh, man.
You know what? You're right. This text says, Cobra did not have a toothpick in his mouth. It was a matchstick. Get it right. I screw that up every time. You're right. It was a matchstick.
You're right.
Every time I screw that up.
It was a matchstick Marion Cabretti had in his yapper.
Uncle Bitch Jesus said he's 46 and he still pretends he's in a fighter jet while jamming in his car.
I love that.
Well,
That's so
I
cute.
definitely pretend I'm going light speed if the snow's coming at me in the middle of the night, just like out of Star Wars or Spaceballs.
You pumped her into a warp speed when
Yep.
the snow's coming down. You can imagine their stars or planets.
Local 34 Jesus had sex with a girl whose dad looked just like Chuck Norris, and then he goes on to say, she did not look like him, thankfully. Yeah.
Well, that's good.
Little bit she did, a little bit. Real dirt nasty Jesus can relate to me, relate to the statement I made about the completely unfair statement that I made, I'll admit it, about Chuck Norris, that I could not watch his movies because his look was just off-putting to me. Real Dirt Nasty Jesus said he also couldn't take him seriously because of his appearance. Chuck Norris looks like he could have been in the band Brooks and Dunn. Yes, he did.
Yeah.
He did.
That's true.
Oh, it's fun. We had fun with those movies back in the day, but yeah.
I miss that. It doesn't seem like they make too many great movies like that. You know, some of those action movies, and maybe it's just because it was the perfect time in my life. Maybe for younger people, the ones that are made today are better.
Oh, man, yeah, it was an exciting time because it wasn't so readily available at all times. Movies, television series. There was a lot of excitement when I was a sixth grade kid, and I know I was going to go over to one of my buddies' places, and I knew they had cable, and I knew, whatever, Commando or Rambo or something was making its grand debut on HBO. What do they call that in the business, Josh? The world premiere of that was very exciting. Grower, not a shower, Jesus, texted in to say, don't forget about Big Trouble in Little China. Now, hang on a second.
I loved that movie, too.
Hang on. We were talking about 80s movies that were so silly they couldn't be taken seriously. Big Trouble in Little China is silly, but it's also so well done, it would never end up on a list like that. That movie is hilarious.
That's one of my favorite movies.
It is. I could watch it every damn day.
What was it? Romancing the Stone. I like that one a lot, too.
Sure. Michael Douglas. So, there's a lot of great ones.
93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
I wouldn't have sex with you if I was starving and your wiener was a ham sandwich.
93X rocks.
Check this deal out right here. This effing thing, this subject was tailor-made for oddball Dana over there with all the childlike things that he spends his time getting involved in. Legos and whatnot, right? Don't you like Legos?
Love Lego.
They're so fun, but so expensive.
I knew it. I knew Dana was going to say it without the S.
Yep, that's the correct term. I know there are a lot of Lego fans, AFOLs as we call ourselves, adult fans of Lego in the audience. So anytime Lego comes up, I make sure to never have the S on it because I want to keep my cred with the Lego crowd.
Well, I know they get very upset.
Some people do. Some people get very passionate about it. I usually let it slide, but in this case, with people listening to our conversation, I always have to do Lego right by not making it plural.
That is so weird. So the plural for Lego is just Lego?
Yeah. I went to the store, bought a bunch of Lego sets.
And if you use it any other way in front of the purists, they'll beat the living hell out of you.
Oh, I've seen it.
I guess when you say it that way, Dana, it sounds right. But if I was just like chilling and I was like, oh, I want to do some Lego, it just doesn't feel right.
Yeah, same with saying like, will you clean up that pile of Lego? It does kind of sound a little weird.
I'm not sure what the hell this means. Here's a listener texted in to say that his favorite backyard game is finding some mud for my turtle. Oh, I know what the hell you're saying there. I told you, send your anal sex jokes to Josh. Finding some mud for his turtle, Josh.
I got what he meant.
What again is the title for adult Lego fans? You call yourselves what?
AFOL or AFOL, adult fans of Lego.
Well, adult fans of... Do you know a guy who loves... something or another, a hobby or an interest, but they try to keep it on the down low. There's a list online of hobbies and interests that men have that they admit they've kept it away from their bros, okay? I'm trying to think of some things personally, and I can't think of one, but maybe I'll get there as we further the conversation. So again, these are hobbies and interests that dodes have, but they don't tell their broskies. Things like keeping stuffed animals and plushies.
That is so cute.
On the bed.
Oh, my gosh. My heart would melt.
Really?
Yes.
You wouldn't be a little creeped out? Let's say you're a single lady again, and it's possible. We know your fiancé. The guy's a little squirrely. Let's say you're a single lady again someday, and double up, some dude hauls you back to his house for action. You crack open the door. He's got little stuffed animals on his bed. That doesn't give you the creeps at all? You find that adorable? I would be creeped out.
Now that I think about it, that has happened to me before. It was just a a guy friend, though, and he was like showing us his room, and he had little stuffed animals on his bed. And I immediately jumped on the bed and like asked, "Oh, what's this one's name?" and was in love with it.
Were they like Transformers or little football players, or were we talking about like teddy bears?
Yeah.
All right. So you
And
love.
I guess, I mean, it would work for a girl that likes that kind of stuff because I did immediately jump on his bed.
Yeah. I suppose you were right there on his bed for the taking.
Yeah.
You're a fan of stuffed animals.
Yeah, I think that probably helps quite a bit.
You think it's totally fine if a grown man, has little Care Bears and whatnot on his bed?
Oh, Care Bears. Yeah, that's
Okay.
cute.
All right.
George said, I have a Beanie Baby collection. Sorry, not sorry.
Oh. It's a very hip thing, a very hip line that he dumped on us there. He's sorry, but he's not really sorry about his Beanie Baby collection. These stuffed animal fans, grown men, they say, I have stuffed animals and plushies from Squishmallow on my bed. Do you know what that means, to be from Squishmallow?
Yeah, it's a really popular stuffed animal brand.
Okay. One stuffed animal enthusiast, grown man. He especially likes, Josh, he likes the dinosaurs.
Oh, yeah.
He's got his
Everybody likes
little
dinosaurs.
Stegosaurus and his Brontosaurus and his damn, what's the one that'll kill you dead before you, the Tyrannosaurus. One grown man keeps this secret away from his buddies. I secretly love motivational quotes.
Why is that?
Yeah, I don't know why you want to keep that from your bros.
Because a lot of them are really cheesy.
Oh, yeah, I hate the great majority of them. I hate that.
I guess I'm thinking of like famous quotes from, leaders back in the day. Like Winston Churchill or something like that. You're talking about like hang in there? Or
right.
that kind of stuff?
That's what I
Yeah.
was picturing, the dopey stuff that people hang on their walls that say something about life and love and wine. I love my wine. Shut up.
I just thought of something that I was trying to think of my fiance because he's very open about all of his interests. He doesn't really care what anybody thinks about him. And one thing that I bet his bros don't know is that he used to, before he met me, he would wake up early in the morning, have his cup of coffee, and read from like an inspirational quote book.
Oh, really?
And when I found that out, I thought it was adorable, but also so nerdy.
This is how he would get himself motivated for his day?
Yeah, he said it didn't last too long, but because he just couldn't do the early mornings anymore. But yeah, it was cute because I found the book one day. It had a bookmark in it. And I thought, what's this here, buddy?
So this is a guy who's openly admitted to being a pecker checker, checking out wieners at urinals, did dance all through middle school, high school, but this is the funniest thing about him by far.
He has his things.
I told you, the guy's squirrely. There's an individual who works here in this building, and I've been in her bathroom, and I don't think I've ever busted her balls about the motivational sign she had. I haven't been to her place in a long time. Had hanging in her bathroom, and I'm trying to remember it. I just thought it was so stupid, and I didn't want to tell her how I felt because I like her. It was something like, it's better to be fooled by a kiss than kissed by a fool. What the hell does that mean? Why is it on your wall?
In the bathroom.
This is what you want people to see when they're...
Here's some stuff this person's afraid to let their bros know about that they're into. Houseplants, scented candles, pegging, classical music. That's a whole list of things.
Houseplants, scented candles, and classical music,
Yeah.
you said. You didn't say anything else.
There was nothing else. It was just those ones there.
I could have sworn.
I told you about my buddy whose wife is so freaking obsessed with scented candles burning constantly in the house that he just spends a fortune on this stuff.
They're not cheap. I bought them for gifts for folks. I was surprised.
And then one day she says, hey, come into the room here. And she points up at the ceiling. Why does our ceiling look like all black and yellow and like this? And he says, because you got a friggin' fire in the house burning at all times. Oh, God. All right. Here's some other hobbies and interests that dudes are into, but they're not going to tell their dude friends. Bubble baths. You know why I never liked a bath even when I was a kid, Josh?
Why?
Because I got no ass.
You sliding around everywhere?
Oh, you got to get one of those nice pads and put on the bottom.
I was born with a trucker butt. I got no ass cheeks, so it was always so uncomfortable to sit in a damn tub.
I've never had a bubble bath. I mean, outside of when I was a kid, the bubbles that are created by the soap, but I've never like put something in there to have a bubble bath.
Oh, I don't know if I've ever had one of those either, but just like an old school bath you used to take as a kid.
Oh, you've never thrown in a bath bomb?
No, I just found out about those a couple of years ago. My wife, like any gift she got one of her girlfriends, she'd also include a bath bomb.
Oh, that's a great gift giver.
Bath bomb.
I think she gave me bath bombs, actually.
I'm sure, yeah, she was really into it for a while.
For the longest time, Josh, I was like you. I didn't know what a bath bomb was, but I heard my ex-wife and her friends talk about them, and I, honest to God, for a while thought they were referring to farting in the bathtub. And I'm like, they're so open about this. This is bizarre.
I was once gifted a bath bomb by a young lady, and then she gave me a little kiss. And I remembered that slogan that I saw on my coworker's bathroom wall that said, I'd rather be fooled by a kiss than kissed by a fool. Let me do one more here, then we got to take a break. Here's a guy who says, my wife and I watch every season of something called Love is Blind on Netflix, and I love it, he says.
Was that just here?
Yeah,
Yes,
the most recent season happened in Minneapolis. And
Well, that's where we are.
yes, it is.
That's exciting. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So people were like, oh, I know that place. I've been to that bar.
Yeah.
Lame claim to fame, my daughter did one of their hair.
Oh,
One of the
really?
people on there.
That's cool.
I watched a little bit of this season with my fiance because she loves the trashy TV. I kind of duck in and out too, and it was entertaining in that this is so stupid type of way. Because the whole concept is it's two people, they talk through a screen so they can't see each other, they get to know each other, and the only way they can ever see each other in real life is if they propose to each other.
Okay, that's ridiculous.
It is.
Now, have you ever heard of or seen an episode of this program where someone comes out from behind that screen and they are just ass ugly?
No, because
No.
that's the thing is they act like, oh, we're proving that love is blind. You know, you get to know somebody. The people they pick for the show are all drop-dead gorgeous.
Yeah,
we would have
exactly.
sex with any of them
Yes,
instantly.
exactly. Both
Yeah.
genders.
That's not fair.
Yeah.
They just parodied one of those shows on Family Guy, the most recent.
Oh, did they?
Oh,
episode.
yeah,
I'll have to check
that's
that
so
out.
funny.
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
When you watch this most recent season of Love is Blind, Dana, and you noticed, oh, I know that location and I know that location, were there any locations that were similar to when you watch Mighty Ducks?
A couple of them, yeah.
What a coincidence. I saw that same street corner when I watched Mighty Ducks, and now it's on Love is Blind. Oh, I watched Mallrats, and I saw that and this.
It was actually pretty funny. We were watching an episode, and the couple that got engaged, they're having a heart-to-heart conversation in the Sunken Flower Garden at the Como Zoo. And I'm sitting there watching my fiance. I go, that's where I got married.
I like cheering for your state. I like it when it gets some attention.
I don't know. It's like we whack off a little too hard over that in this town, I think. Yeah, what we were saying a few minutes ago, we were talking about this here. A list online of hobbies and interests that men have that they keep away from their pals. They don't let their bros know that they're dialed into these certain hobbies and interests. Stuffed animals, motivational quotes, bubble baths, watching a television program called Love is Blind. Personally, I still can't think of anything. And if I did have one of these supposedly, I don't know what the word would be.
Guilty pleasure, maybe?
I suppose, some kind of a guilty pleasure, hobby, or interest, I wouldn't be afraid if my guy friends knew about it. If they don't like it, they can kiss my ass.
I think that changes as you get older.
Yeah.
I agree.
I mean,
I wouldn't care at this point, but I bet when I was younger, there'd be some things I cared about.
I shave my armpit hair because I wear sleeveless shirts anytime it's above 50 degrees, and I think that a hairy armpit looks gross, so I trim the hair in my armpits.
I
I have
manscape.
respect.
What's that?
I said, but me? Respect.
Yes. You're giving me mad respect for such a thing?
Yeah, because it can get kind of gross.
I got made fun of for cutting my eyebrows back. They got real bushy, and I trimmed those back a little bit, and I got crap.
Who, from a
What?
guy friend?
No, a girlfriend, actually.
girlfriend?
Like meeting a girl I was dating.
Like, sorry, I don't want to look like a Cro-Mag.
Well, it was kind of getting out of control.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
silly.
it's not like I was plucking them and putting eyeliner on or anything, whatever you do to your eyebrow.
I think that's very normalized now, too, for guys to take care of their eyebrows, which they should. Take care of them.
Manscaping
I manscape.
can be in all different parts of the body.
Oh, boy, do I. Poops in boxes, Jesus said, being the little spoon. You know, sometimes it's nice.
It is
F
nice.
off, LOL.
I hate having to be the big spoon sometimes.
Spooning is against the rules in my book in
What
the
about
first
with the
place.
puppies?
Oh, I love doing that.
They
yeah.
spoon my puppies.
I don't know.
Oh, that's the best.
I got such a tiny little dog. If I spooned her, I'd kill her.
Yeah, probably.
True.
All right, here are some other hobbies and interests that dudes have, but they're not going to tell their bros. Sewing. Good for you if you know how to sew.
I wish I knew how.
My
Yeah.
God, I would end up impaling myself within minutes. Baking, boy bands.
I was embarrassed for a while that I started to like pop music because of my kid. She loved it. And I despised it until I started listening to it. I'm like, okay, I understand what she likes about it.
Yeah, most of it I can't get involved in the pop music. I mean,
Josh.
I like old pop, like the Bee Gees and whatnot. I love that.
I can distinctly remember a time, Josh, where we were out in high school doing whatever. I was the one driving. I dropped all my friends off, and as soon as the last friend got out of the car, I took out, whatever Linkin Park or Stain we were listening to, and immediately put in like an NSYNC CD or something. Just once the bros were gone, I felt safe.
Oh, remember the hate we got when we played the Backstreet Boys? Is it I Want It That Way? It was like an Edge Fest or an X Fest. We blasted it from our car.
Oh,
and
yeah,
everyone,
yeah.
There's people that wanted to kill us.
Oh, yeah, that was fun. It's fun to be the heel in that situation. Here's a 30-year-old guy who loves what he calls raunchy pop music from people like Nicki Minaj, Taylor Swift, Katy Perry. That's raunchy what those girls do?
Nicki Minaj, definitely raunchy, but
Yeah, she
not
can be.
Taylor.
Okay.
Who did WAP?
Cardi B and Nicki Minaj.
That is foul.
Yeah, you can't.
That's too much. That was too much when you wrote that, Cardi B.
That was my 2-year-old niece when she was about 1. That was one of her favorite songs.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, she loved the beat.
Too much.
Romantic comedies, romance novels, pedicures, Legos, classical music. Now, here are some texts that came in from our listeners. They also had something to say, the dudes, some of their hobbies and interests that they keep a secret. One listener loves a good pedicure, and yes, my toenails are painted.
Yeah, that's something I've never done. I mean, with my daughter, we'd play Pretty Pretty Princess when she was very little, and I begrudgingly let her paint my toenails once. But
I considered it because of the fungus.
Oh,
Yeah, you probably should have done it.
I considered it. I did. I thought, this is so bad.
I thought you already did, without how yellow your nails were. That's an unnatural color.
that poor person would probably quit the profession if Nick walked in.
Now, one of the items on in this report, this list of online hobbies and interests that dudes are ashamed to admit, one of them was, I love motivational quotes. And what I assume them to mean are those dopey signs you see hanging in people's homes, and they're just so douchey. A listener, Poonhound in Mound, Jesus, he wanted my feelings on lake life or life is better on the lake.
Do cabins come with those?
I'm
or
pretty
is that
sure.
something-
Yeah,
And
the realtor gives it to you and you sign on the papers.
I texted back, I said, make me puke. I cannot stand, because basically all you're saying there is, I have a boat.
Yep.
That's all you're saying.
It's one big humble brag.
I hate that lake life. Life is better on the lake. I see it all the time because I do end up on the lake a lot in the summer, and you see people wearing the T-shirts, and they have a flag on the back of their boat. Lake life, shut up. One of our listeners collects, am I saying this right? Collects graded Pokemon cards. Graded?
Yeah, he's probably rich then.
That's Fishing in the Dark. Jesus does that. That means they're worth a lot of monies?
Yeah, I mean, some of the old ones, especially if they're graded too and in mint condition, yeah, you can make a lot of money on those.
Josh Richfield Jesus is a big fan of something called ikebana, which is the Japanese art of flower arranging.
Oh, I could appreciate that.
Man,
Sounds really cool.
I always wanted to be able to trim a bonsai tree after the Karate Kid.
Oh, have you ever seen those at the Como Zoo? Those are so sweet.
No, and I love that zoo. Like, they have the little ones or big ones?
Yeah, they have little trees and they have like 10 or 12 of them. I love them.
I got to take a look next time.
They're so expensive to do, though.
I've heard they can be very expensive.
Finally, one of our male listeners is into collecting women's underwear, but he does not get specific as to how he, what's the word I'm looking for, Josh? How he
Obtains them?
Obtains all these pairs of women's underwear.
Right. Are they aware? Are they unaware?
This matters.
Are there people missing some?
It makes a difference.
Do you wander around neighborhoods during the summer and you pluck them off the clothesline? He has a massive collection of women's underwears, but no further details.
Yeah, are they in a top drawer, in a hamper? I mean, there's so many different circumstances.
Are you wearing a ski mask when you obtain these pairs of women's underwears in an empty house? Is it just you in an empty house? We don't know.
93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Well, if it isn't our wonderful podcast listener, the ones that all of us on Hams love the most. Dana here to give you a little gentle reminder to hit up our friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning and tune up that AC before it fully turns into crotch soup season. June through August are Standard's busy season for getting AC units up to snuff, so get ahead of the curve and have them ensure you don't have a summer where you pit out every shirt you own. Book in May during their pre-summer heat savings event, and you'll beat the rush and save yourself some walking around money. Call Standard Heating today or visit standardheating.com. Enjoy the show. We sincerely appreciate you checking us out each and every day.
Looking for a degree program that rewards you for what you already know? At WGU, all of our bachelor's and master's programs are competency-based, allowing you to progress at your own pace. Washingtonians know how valuable time and money are, and so do we. At WGU, your hard work and experience can help you finish your degree faster and for less. Join a community of driven professionals from across the DMV who are unlocking new career opportunities today. See how your knowledge can give you an edge at wgu.edu.
Searching for an inside look at the people, stories, and passion that fuel the state of soccer in America? The United States Soccer Federation will be launching the all-new U.S. Soccer Podcast. Episodes will go beyond the field with players, coaches, and legends to bring you honest conversations and untold stories. This is where soccer will come to life. The U.S. Soccer Podcast. Follow and listen on your favorite platforms.
Half-Assed Morning Show. 93X.
Welcome to the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show with our pal, C. Willie Miles, in studio. C. Willie.
He sure is, sitting right here.
A man who attended St. Cloud State University.
The legendary Harvard of the Midwest.
That's what they call it.
St. Cloud State.
Tell us if you can, C. Willie. Think about it. Take your time if you have to. The wildest moment from your days at St. Cloud State. The wildest moment. The most lawless.
Oof.
Crazy. Think about it for a while if you have to. We've all had some wild times back in our college days. Right, Josh?
We did.
Were there ever themes to the parties? C. Willie, while you're thinking about the wildest time. Were there ever themes to the parties at college back in your day?
Yes.
Themes?
Absolutely.
Really?
It's a regular occurrence.
Yeah.
Really? I've never been a theme guy, just in my own personal life, like themed weddings, not my type of a thing. I spent a lot of time at St. Cloud State University in the early 90s. We never had a theme for anything. No parties had organized themes. So my assumption was that must have come along after our heyday had come and gone. I mean, there was an underlying theme that was never mentioned, and that, of course, was let's binge drink and then have sexual contact with a complete stranger.
That's every college party.
Right. So you're saying there must have been a gap in there somewhere. So you're saying when you were there, because you're a little older, when you were there were what were the themes?
One of the this is a true story. So one of the theme parties that I went to at St. Cloud State was called the Ghost. It's called a Ghost Party. So if you've never been the premise of the whole party was to get with a girl, talk to her the whole night, and then just disappear. Like, don't say goodbye to her or nothing. Just, because that's what girls used to do to guys back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
So you would you and your bros would take one night a year, maybe multiple nights a year, and just be dicks. And you would
Right.
befriend these women, lead them to believe that you were interested, and then just walk.
Right. And then just like lead the party.
So it was like a revenge thing.
Well, no, it was, and they didn't know until like the next day they go, it was a ghost party.
Okay.
And like you got ghosted.
So then you would reconnect with them. Usually you would say, hey, sorry
you
about
would see
that.
them again and just go, that was, hey, that was the show. I'm sorry.
Josh, do you remember college age parties where there were, parties you went to at colleges where there were themes?
No, not necessarily. This is the closest I could come up with when I went to Moorhead. In our dorm, the floors were separated by class. So, we were freshmen, so all the freshmen are one. So the sophomores were right above us.
Yeah.
And they had a porn and spaghetti night, just the sophomores,
exactly.
Where they would show up in one particular room. It was the biggest room on the floor. And it was like Friday nights they'd have this porn and spaghetti night.
It's incredible.
That's the only theme I can really think about.
How did you do in that department? Because
I wasn't allowed. Freshmen, it was only for sophomores.
Oh.
Yeah, it was just people on that floor could go.
Because
we went to one, and then they told us, hey, you can't be here.
You're not much of a porn guy.
I love spaghetti, but not porn.
You love spaghetti.
Yeah. Can I just get my spaghetti to go?
Yeah.
If I remember right, weren't you watching a porno movie when you were a kid and also eating raviolios and you almost vomited because you'd never seen such graphic sexual contact?
It's a shame I had to give up raviolios for many, many years.
Oh.
I was told we were going to be watching a different movie, see, Willie. But my friend had raided his dad's porn, alcohol, and gun cabinet.
Oh, my God.
And he brought 2 out of the 3.
Oh, okay.
Alcohol and porn. And he put it in a different VHS box, right? So I thought, we're going to watch an action-adventure movie. And they put that in, and I was shocked.
Did it have a funny name, or am I confusing stories here?
No, you're right, it did. But I don't want to say because it was horrible.
Okay.
I mean, there were some bad things that happened
I don't want to
there.
bring that back up.
So that was my first, and maybe that's why I'm not, it's partly just the Catholic upbringing, and I think partly because my first experience with porn was awful.
Awful.
I mean, even I think a seasoned porn watcher might go, dude, what's happening in this?
And it ruined a favorite meal.
It did. Yeah, it did.
Raviolios were delicious. They probably still are. It's been years. Ashley, Dana, when you were college age, there were quite a few themed parties.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah, there was
outfits
plenty.
and
The 2 that were probably the most popular were...
Well, don't say it. Don't say it.
Okay.
But when I mention them, I want to hear your stories.
Okay.
Okay. Because younger people have been talking about themes on Reddit, and already we're getting text messages here, 651-989-9393, from younger people saying, "Oh yeah, this theme, that theme." That wasn't part of my generation. I mean, outside of Halloween, that was just not a thing. We would just show up and
what about a
drink
toga
our
party?
nuts up.
I went to a toga party once.
See,
that was one of the ones I was thinking of.
Okay.
Those were kind of common.
I'll tell you here in a minute, yeah. So, younger people, if you feel like it, tell us if we're missing any here. On Reddit, folks have been sharing their favorite style of theme party from their college drinking days. Again, this is completely foreign to me. First on the list is toga party. Okay, so you went to a few of those, Ashley.
Those were very common, yeah.
Okay. Never went to a real toga party outside of, because like I said, it just wasn't a thing anywhere. Outside of which WrestleMania was it where they were at Caesar's Palace and it was terrible?
I think it was 9.
9.
7 maybe?
Giant Gonzalez. It was just terrible. It's widely renowned as the worst WrestleMania. That was at Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas, and WWE called it the world's largest toga party. So we ordered that pay-per-view, and me and Big Al and my brother, just the 3 of us, did get into togas and drank beer while watching that year's WrestleMania to fall into line with the theme of the world's largest toga.
Was there a woman within 5 miles?
No, it's just the 3 of us.
That's awesome.
And my dad came home from over-the-road truck driving to see 2 of his sons and their best friend dressed in togas, sitting alone watching a wrestling paper.
No chicks.
Okay, toga party. The old standby, they call it. Wrap yourself in a bed sheet and make some bad choices. Dana, you went to those in college?
They were pretty common.
Okay, here's one that's been texted in quite a bit already from our damn text machine. ABC, anything but clothes.
Those are always fun. I love those.
Yeah, those were super fun.
I'd never heard of it until the text started coming in. So legitimately, everybody was naked.
No.
You wear something, but it just can't be clothes.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of a very common
That's
one.
very different.
That's naked.
A very common outfit that I would see is like an outfit made out of empty beer boxes.
Right.
Right.
I've seen pictures on, like the Chive. I've heard of an anything but clothes party.
Ooh, body paint. Is that something that happens?
Well, how risky did it get?
I love
Ashley
the
and
body
Dana.
paint.
It got pretty risky. There's always some accidental nudity.
Was there body paint?
accidental?
It wasn't
Yeah.
accidental.
I don't remember seeing any body paint.
Body paint, a lot of like
Duct tape?
duct tape,
Yeah,
caution tape,
duct
like
tape.
the police might
Caution
use to
tape.
surround a scene. You wrap that around your body.
You've been to these, C. Willie?
Yes.
As when you were a college kid?
Yes.
Well, what the hell was going on in the late 80s into the 90s? Why did no one do that?
Oh, St. Cloud really cracked down on parties after about 87.
Well, hell no, they didn't.
Well, I mean, the big ones. After the dumpster fire.
I mean, I remember what you're referring to, but we
Right.
partied no one
Oh, yeah.
stopped us from partying up there.
Right.
Okay. There's something called Power Hour.
Oh, those are a great time.
Okay. Mm-hmm. It says here, every minute there would be a new song and a shot of beer. You would.
Yeah,
So when someone's sitting by the stereo, you play a song for 1 minute, then you click to the next, and you get to drink a shot of beer.
And then there's also programs like on iTunes that would just flip the song every minute.
We used to just like play those at house parties.
Yeah,
Play-
it was
play
a
what at
popular
house party?
pregame thing before the bars.
Oh, you guys would play, drink a shot of beer every minute before you went to the bar.
We play that in high school.
Then there's
Yeah.
also the Century Club, too, which is if you can power through and do an entire 100 minutes. It's tougher than you think.
Case race teams try to finish a 24-pack of beer first.
That was fun. And party ball races, too, were popular in St. Cloud State. It was like 55 beers in a plastic Bud Light box. And you assemble a team and first person to... And you had to prove the party ball was empty by taking a knife, which is super safe after a group of people drinking 55
Absolutely.
beers, and slash it open so that you can prove there's no more beer left inside.
Now, that does sound familiar.
My God. Dana sent me a picture of you going to one of those ABC parties where he's dressed as a knight, like a knight in shining armor, but it's all Mick Golden light boxes.
That's incredible, Dana.
Hey, you see the picture, too?
Yeah, I love it.
That's actually, you did it very well.
I was proud of that one, yeah.
You should be.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Yeah, you did a great job.
Some of this stuff took so much planning. Maybe that's why it wasn't part of our everyday operation. Because none of us were really organized enough, let's put someone in charge of this and that. We could never accomplish that. Beer Olympics, teams dress in different countries' flags. You compete in beer pong and flippy cup and quarters. There are fake medals dished out.
I've heard of those, but I never participated.
We always did it around the 4th of July, up north at a cabin somewhere.
Yeah,
so
I played that at a cabin last summer. It was like the beer Olympics. It was really fun.
Yeah.
Except, holy cow, I was drunk.
The day can get away from you pretty quick during Beer Olympics.
Yeah.
You guys had the presence of mind and the organizational skills to go get a flag, go get a this, that, come up with medals and all that.
Somebody else planned it. I just showed up.
Show up and drink the beer.
Yeah, I'm not planning something like that.
I'm impressed by that.
Me too. I've never been good at that kind of thing.
God, it was so much fun.
No,
though. Oh, I
could
would love
barely
to do
even
that again.
Could barely even pack my bag if I was going out of town. And we got to take a break here. We've covered anything but clothes as far as a college party theme. Now, here's something or another called anything but a cup. Like anything but clothes, drinks must be consumed from literally anything except a cup, like a traffic cone, a vase, or a shampoo bottle.
Those seem relatively new. I think that's something that's popped up. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Dana. I think that's something that's popped up in the last 5-10 years, maybe.
Yeah, I don't remember that one. I definitely remember people would have silly chalices or things they like to drink out of, but I don't remember a specific, anything but a cup type of
I
thing.
think colleges stole that from, is it 7-Eleven that does that? Where they have one day a year, it's like Slurpee Day.
Oh, you can bring in a 5-gallon bucket?
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Learning about party themes here. At least I am the subject. Folks have been talking about their favorite themes at college parties from back in their day. My friends and I never did a theme for a party. It was pretty much the same vibe. Lots of people, lots of alcohol, loud music, eventually a fight or two, and then if you're lucky, you find yourself having unprotected sex with a total stranger. We never got involved in themes, so this is all very interesting. C. Willie Miles is here. You know a thing or two about themed college parties.
Yes, sir.
This is what we've covered so far. These are some of the favorites. toga party, anything but clothes, power hour, case race, beer Olympics, anything but a cup. This was obviously not going to happen when I was a college-age kid because there was no such thing as Shrek. But it says here, people really enjoyed a Shrek rave or a Shrek party. You paint yourself green, and my God, save
What a
us.
mess.
I know.
God help us all. They play nothing but Smash Mouth.
It's from the soundtrack.
Is that just the one song, or are there more than one Smash Mouth song?
I can just think of the one. I'm not sure if there's more.
That's the worst theme I think we've come across so far.
Yeah,
you have
that's
to paint yourself
ridiculous.
green, and you can listen to nothing but Smash Mouth. C. Willie Miles, what about a college theme party called Corporate Hoes and CEOs?
Oh, wow. That's a throwback.
Do you know that one?
Yeah, that was not a party. That was just the way of life.
That's just how they did it.
I'm so sorry.
That was called Friday night.
Yeah.
Did you ever go to any kind of a bros and hoes party in your college days?
Again, was not a party. Just
No, it's just a.
No, I went to St. Cloud State, man.
Those were very popular. I went to St. Cloud State.
Yes.
And you can imagine all the innuendos that get dropped, like, am I doing a good job, boss?
So the gimmick, if you don't know corporate hoes and CEOs, men wear suits, women dress as the stereotypical slutty secretary.
Yeah, it was a fun excuse to wear a cute cocktail dress.
Pencil skirts and things like that.
Didn't you like the movie Secretary, Nick?
I
thought
love that friggin' movie.
Yeah, I thought you were a fan.
Oh, it's one of the greatest movies of all. I do have some experience in this department. Povs in Andover, which is now a Palmyra or something. I bar-gigged there for 12, 14 years. For a few of those years, on Halloween, they had a Pimps and Hoes. They called it the Pimp and Hoe Ball. And it was a riot. And the waitresses, the outfits they would get into, breathtaking. Absolutely. Right. So I have been to a few of those.
We've got a pimp in my town. I mentioned him once before. I said, for whatever reason, I saw a guy dressed as a pimp walking around, cane, everything. And I brought him up, and people said, yeah, that's how he dresses. Oh, they see that guy all over town.
The Egan Pimp, huh?
Yeah, you grew up in Egan. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, I haven't heard of that one.
I haven't seen him since, but when I mentioned him, people are like, oh, yeah, that's pretty well known over there. I want to meet him.
Yeah.
Heaven and hell parties, slutty angels and devils everywhere.
Oh, sure.
White. You're familiar? You've been to one of those, C. Willie?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. But I heard of them.
Okay. White lies party. Everyone wears a plain white T-shirt with a personal lie written on it.
I've never heard of these ones before.
Yeah, so, like, for example, obviously she wouldn't be at a party. Maybe she would in St. Cloud. A pregnant woman wearing a shirt that says, I always make them pull out. I don't know why that was my first thought.
Right. I love that you added the maybe in St. Cloud.
Wow. Red light, green light.
My daughter made me one of those white lie party shirts, and she just wrote on there, I'm happy to be here.
That's perfect. Red light, green light party. You wear a red shirt if you're in a relationship, yellow if your relationship status is complicated, green if you're down for.
Yep, that was the other one I was thinking about. That was a really, really common one.
Down for action. Here's a few text messages from our listening audience on themed parties that they enjoyed. Boy, does this sound like a gong show. Something called Hundy Cup Beer Pong. 24 players on each side of the ping pong table?
Oh, never done that. That seems like way too much.
You play sideways? How do you do something like that?
Good question. That's all I have in front of me. That sounds like a great way for you and your buddy to turn an ankle. Sure, I've heard of things like this before. The Edward 40 hands. You tape a 40 to your hands. And
that's pretty funny.
That is funny.
I've never seen it. I didn't even know if it was a real thing or just something funny people said.
Oh, I saw it. And then, there's a guy who desperately has to go to the bathroom and nobody's going to help him. So he's got 40s taped to his hand. He's trying to shimmy his pants down.
Actually, I take that back. I have seen it. I saw it at a party. I think I was in high school, and I remember just being annoyed by the bit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the guy that was doing it. I mean, he was the only one doing it. And I was like,
well, that makes a difference.
It says here the first one to take a leak loses in an Edward 40 hands competition.
That's how I'd heard of it.
Yeah, the goal is you got to finish them before you can take a pee.
What?
Yeah, people are texting in about my experience with the clown bus. Yeah, they tried to put that on us a few years.
Traumatizing.
I'm not going to tell that story in its entirety because that was a total nightmare. One listener texted in to say the only theme my bros and I had at any college-age party was more or less, would someone please touch my wiener?
Come on over for the Please Touch My Wiener party.
Beach party in February at the University of Minnesota, one guy says. We put sand in the basement. All the women wore bikinis.
Oh, that's funny.
Fun.
That's awesome.
What is a stoplight party?
It's like a red light, green light party.
Same thing.
Oh, same thing.
Red shirt if you're in a relationship, green if you're
Right.
down for a weird orgy.
Theme parties all the time, one of our listeners said. Cowboy theme, beach theme, 70s, black light.
Black light.
my
That would have been
favorite.
fun.
In a college house?
Oh, yeah,
we
true.
did the Hugh Hefner. We did the Playboy Bunny House.
Yep.
That was, but it was really kind of a laid back. Like it was no heavy drinking. Nobody got out of control. You just dressed in a nice silky robe. And
Men were
we had
in
a pipe-
robes.
We had a pipe, and the girls dressed in bunny suits.
That's awesome. It was a classy affair, it sounds like.
Yeah, and it was just we just walk around. You just sit and I didn't drink, but so I was just eating snacks all night. But
I bet you made a very handsome Hugh Hefner.
I was a dope.
Yeah.
I was a dope black Hugh Hefner with the Jerry curl. I had the full length robe though. I didn't wear like the half one. I just thought that
You had to have a full length. The one that cuts off at the thigh
satin.
makes you look like you're
satin.
a 6-year-old on the run or something.
It was satin. I got it from Sears and Roebuck.
Dude, I bet you filled that robe out a lot better than Hugh Hefner ever
Yes,
did.
I did. Yes, I did.
I miss Sears. I love
nothing underneath
Same
the
here,
robe.
Josh.
Finally, on the topic of theme parties, I always wanted, and this one got texted in a couple times. This is one that I'm familiar with. Not that I've experienced it, but I've heard about it many, many times. I've always wanted to have a key party.
Oh, yeah, I've seen those in movies, but I didn't know they were a real thing.
Yeah.
I had those all wrong until Dana sent the thing on it. I thought a key party was just when you throw that in there so nobody drinks and drives, but it's more about swinging. I didn't know that. I didn't know that was a swinging thing.
When you walk in the house, you throw your car keys in a bowl, and at the end of the night, the women pick the car keys out of the bowl, and that means you have to go into a bedroom.
I was just watching a TV show, and it was about college kids. It's called Forever. It's on Netflix, and they did something where you just got like straight to the point. You just put your name in a hat. All the men put their name in a hat. The women pull the name.
Well, sure.
Find them, and that's your person for the night.
One way to do it. Were all these people on bicycles or something? They didn't have any car keys?
I think it was high school, actually, so that's probably why.
Why did Josh bring 15 car keys to this party?
Someone's stacking the deck.
Someone's playing the odds.
All right, we got to get the hell out of here. But see, Willie Miles, you know how much we appreciate you.
Absolutely, man. I was glad to be back in here with you guys.
Never forget how much we appreciate you.
Never.
And good luck on the golf course.
Absolutely.
We'll see you again soon.
93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Nice.
93X.
Josh, you're the brightest guy I know. I got a question for you. Did you know that if you were living in Australia, is that something you've ever dreamed about, living in Australia?
No.
Not even when you were a 5th, 6th grade kid and you watched Crocodile Dundee for the first time, you didn't dream of living in the outback?
No, I thought he was cool.
You did?
Yeah, very cool. But no, I did not have that dream. I'm an avid indoorsman.
Well, I know, but when you were a 5th or 6th grade kid.
It seemed kind of cool, but no, I've never felt any type of pull to leave the country.
You weren't a full-on indoorsman when you were a 5th or 6th grade kid. You're probably out on your bicycle all day.
Constantly.
Buying porn from the filthy kid down the neighborhood, smoking cigarettes in an alley. Cigarettes? No porn, no cigarettes.
No cigarettes.
But you did ride the bicycle around town. I'll tell you what. That movie came out the summer after my 8th grade year. Day 1 of 9th grade, there was a kid in my class, and he was a friend of mine, who showed up to the first day of school with his hair dyed blonde, wearing snakeskin boots, and talking in an Australian accent.
Oh, you love it.
He had fully committed himself, at least on day 1 of school, to let everybody know, I've got a decent Crocodile Dundee imitation in my repertoire now. He let go of the accent after day one, but he kept the boots and the hairdo. All right. Let me get to what I was going to ask you about. Here's the deal. Did you know that if you lived in Australia, Josh, you could not legally name a child Dickhead?
I bet it's not exclusive to Australia, but I wasn't aware they specifically had that.
I suppose I didn't think about that.
That was my favorite name that I read.
Dickhead?
Yeah, I even pointed that one out to my family members. Oh, darn.
I would like to know the people that this rule got made because of. You know, they attempted to name their kid Dickhead, and then somebody said, you know what, we might need to put a law in place.
Yeah, talked about places where you can't name your kid Nazi or Hitler or something like that.
I suppose I didn't think about that. Australia probably isn't the only spot on planet Earth that has banned the name Dickhead from being permanently placed on innocent children. Here are all of the illegal baby names that have been officially banned in Australia. Interrupt me if there's one that you like and you want to argue for, okay?
Oh, I've got one I saw the list. I've got one for sure that I think should be a name that's okay to give your kid.
Oh, I'm excited. Oh, I bet I know what it is. Yeah, yep.
And Dana's probably right. A lot of these probably made the banned list, BANNED list, because some lunatic couple attempted to name their innocent child. Okay, here are all the illegal baby names that have been officially banned in Australia. Adolf Hitler, Bomb, Bonghead.
Some potheads.
Why would you do this to your kid?
Because people are insane.
Bonghead.
That's why. Because they're friggin' insane, and they look at their child as nothing more than a conversation piece for themselves.
It's their accessory, sure.
Yeah.
It's an accessory.
It's a way to show how creative they are.
God, poor kid.
You cannot name a child Brother in Australia. Maybe they're more fans of Sting or Macho Man Randy. Not big Hulk Hogan fans in Australia. You cannot name a child Brother. Cyanide. Dame. D-A-M-E. Maybe you
kind
need
of a weird one.
Maybe you need to be Australian to get what that means.
Oh,
maybe that's a derogatory term over there. I don't know.
Shoot.
Devil. What's happening over there?
I'm trying to remember. I've heard that in like old.
Well, there's Dame Judi Dench. I mean, that's not her first name. She was.
Yeah, it's like that kind of vibe. Yeah, it says it's a female equivalent of Sir.
Sure.
So I don't know why they're not. I don't know why they're not about that.
Yeah, it might be like slang for hussy over there or something.
Oh, that makes sense.
That's what I just said. Right. Maybe it's derogatory in Australia. We don't live there. We don't know.
Well, I think it is here, too. Some people take offense to that. You're like, what was the name of that dame? You know, I was out with a couple of dames last night. Have you heard anybody say something like that before?
I could see. Yeah, that makes sense.
Devil. Dickhead.
Do you think some of these have pronunciations? They're spelled that way, but they, get creative with the pronunciations. Like, no, that's DeVille, or
good
Dayville.
question. Very good question. Very good. Yeah, people would try to skirt around the rules for that, right? Emperor.
Be kind of a cool name if you're cool enough to pull it off.
I would not think that to be a cool name if my name was Emperor.
No.
I mentioned before my oldest, Cam, went to school with a kid that called himself King Money. And I don't know if anybody knew his real name outside of teachers, but King Money is what he went by. I bet you can't name your kid King Money.
Again, we continue on with the list of illegal baby names in Australia. Father. G-Bang. Like short for gangbang?
Gotta be,
That's
right?
what I imagined.
Was a baby... Was there a parent who wanted to name their child Gangbang because it was the product of a gangbang?
That'd be special.
You got folks who name their children after the city they were conceived in.
Bryce Dallas Howard. Middle name.
Bryce Dallas, or the month they were conceived in, or the this, the. Okay, God. You cannot name your child God. However, we learned in 1984, didn't we, Josh, from the documentary Ghostbusters, that if anyone ever asks you if you are a god, you say yes. One of my favorite scenes when they're up on top of the building. What was her name? Gazul, the lady Gazul. Zool came out, and she asked Ray if he was a god.
She was hot in a scary way.
She was friggin' hot.
Josh, isn't there something in religion that says you shouldn't do that anyway?
Huh?
Meaning
kind of compare somebody to God.
Yeah, no false idols, all that kind of thing.
Well, I mean, there was a college, speaking of, last night's big college basketball final, there was a very popular and successful college basketball player many years ago by the name of God Shamgod. Now, I don't know if that was his birth name, but that's what they called him on television, God Shamgod.
But you're right, Ashley. You got to kind of stay away from those names. Just ask Shotgun Messiah Jesus, or retired GVFD Jesus, or Jackrabbit Jesus.
Yeah. You also cannot name a child Goddess, or Harry Potter, or Jesus Christ, or Majesty. Didn't Mike Jackson have a
Prince?
Or Jermaine Jackson have a kid named Prince?
Well,
what?
Yeah, Michael Jackson had Prince Michael Jackson, right?
Oh, right, but Jermaine Jackson, maybe Mike's brother, I thought he had a... Someone look up Jermaine Jackson and his children's names. Now, they're ridiculous because he's a member of the Jackson family. Can you do that for me? Jermaine Jackson.
I knew a girl named Majesty.
Yeah,
her mom's name is Queenie, and she was Majesty.
Yeah, I know a girl named Majesty, too. I just looked it up on Facebook, and boom, right away.
Now, do they call her Madge for short?
Oh, I hope not.
Because
she was very little when I knew her. It was a neighbor, so they called. I mean, it seems like when you're littler, you get the full name, so they always called her Majesty.
If I'm not mistaken, I think when, like, say, my grandparents' generation, I can't think of what it was short for, but there were women wandering around planet Earth named Madge. Was it short for Margaret, maybe?
It could be.
Anyway.
I've heard that. I have an Aunt Margaret, so Marge or Madge. I've heard people say both.
Did anyone find the list of children that were sired by Jermaine Jackson from the Jackson 5?
Were you thinking of his son, Jer Majesty Jackson?
That's it, Jer Majesty.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, geez, Jesus brings up the people that named their daughter Khaleesi one season into Game of Thrones and then regretted it in season 8.
What did she
maybe
do?
you have to see the whole arc of the character to decide if
she became a bad person.
Nobody liked the way the show ended.
Well, I've mentioned it before. There was a stretch of time at the Boom Boom Room when that Game of Thrones first hit it big. And I used to go to the Boom Boom Room quite frequently back then. Rick's Cabaret, Seville Club. And every 4 or 5 strippers, I should say, every 4 or 5 strippers was named Khaleesi for a stretch of time because that effing show was so popular. And also, what was the name from that Frozen show?
Elsa.
That weirds me out. That's a children's movie.
A lot of strippers were Elsa and Khaleesi for a handful of months until the next trend came around. Okay, we got to keep cooking now on this list of illegal baby names in Australia. Marijuana.
Dumb. There was a story here about...
that is really dumb.
About a girl that was named Pepsi Marijuana. Do you remember? Maybe Marijuana Pepsi? I can't remember.
Come on. Here in the States.
Yeah. Let's see if I can find that
Come
story.
on.
Yeah, Marijuana Pepsi.
It's not a toy. It's a child that is going to need to live an adult life after you are dead.
Yeah. She's an Illinois lady.
Monkey. Can't name your child Monkey or Nazi or Nutella or Osama bin Laden.
Yeah, why? Why
Yeah.
a million years?
Or Panties. You can't name... That's just my child. Oh, how adorable. What is her name? Her name is Panties.
Could be kangaroo panties over there in Australia quite easily. People are bringing up a good point. There's a lot of Mohammeds and Jesuses out there as far as religious names.
Oh, yeah.
I'll have to go along with it. Passport, Pope, Professor, Queen, Ranga, I don't know what that means. Now, here's where I think
This one deserves consideration.
We've hit a crossroads here. Josh said earlier, there's one name on this banned baby name list from Australia where you'd like to make an argument, and I'm right behind you, son. If you need any help on this argument, I'm there for you. For whatever reason, they have banned the name RoboCop from being placed permanently on the record or birth certificate of an innocent child.
Because you are not going to name your kid RoboCop.
I would like to name my child RoboCop.
Yeah, why would you name your kid after an American hero?
A lot of
Makes
folks,
no sense to me either.
That is crazy.
I know folks that have named their babies after movie characters and then regretted the living hell out of it.
Oh,
I
yeah,
know
I'm
people.
judging.
I know people who have named their babies after influential people. Of course. RoboCop.
Maybe
Love
at least
that
a middle
dude.
name. Rambo. That's another one that should be under consideration for being okay.
Come with me or there will be trouble. You can't name your child Satan. You can't name your child Scrotum. Anybody want to fight that one?
Nope.
You can't name your child Semen.
God.
Jesus.
Well, that's how they start, but even so.
You can't name your child Head or Smelly or Snort or, this must be Australian, Socceroos. You can't name your baby Terrorist or Thong or Virgin.
Snot Rocket Cheeses wants to know, what about the name Judge Dredd? Wasn't one of his best films.
No, it really wasn't.
Never saw it.
You're better off having
You'd hate
not.
it. That is not a movie for you. This person regrets naming their child Bill Cosby. Tell me about it. I named mine Darren Sharper.
Oh, no. God.
Who at one time was one of my favorite Vikings. That has changed.
Now you know what not to name your baby if you ever start a family in stinking Australia.
I'm surprised you didn't know what Socceroos is, Dana.
Oh, it's the name of the soccer players, their national team.
Yeah. So I guess
Where are
that
they
makes
from?
sense.
Where?
In Australia.
It's an Australian national. Okay, I thought maybe it was a rival country. And that's why they said
no. If you play for the Australian national team, you're a Socceroo.
And then it said that the Ranga, that's just another word for redheads. Like a redheaded animal situation. I never knew that.
Redheaded animal
Yeah.
situation? What are you talking
it
about?
says it's red-haired person, or it comes from
A
the
red-haired...
early 21st century from an orangutan because it has reddish hair.
Okay. So a red-haired person is a Ranga
Yes.
in Australia, where around here we call them, what do we call them?
Daywalkers.
Fire?
Ginger.
Fire crotch? That's what we used to do back in the... Everyone was a fire crotch.
93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
I could use some poontang myself right now.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Josh, when you were a young buck and you and your classmate bros were all circled up picking teams for, say, maybe a game of football or some type of activity during a physical education class, did you ever get picked last? And if so, how hurtful was that experience?
If not last, very close to the bottom.
Dang, that sucks.
Once or twice last, but badminton I was pretty good at. So badminton, not so much, but certainly the majority of other athletic
Football,
events.
basketball,
Sure, keep going.
soccer, hockey.
Yep.
You know what's worse than getting picked last when there's an uneven number of kids, and then they make that final pick, and then you're the odd man out, and they're like, oh, sorry, man, it's 5-on-5, we got 11, you can't play.
Oh, I haven't had that, but I've had the, all right, we'll take Whitney.
Yeah.
I've had that.
We never picked people based off of their athletic abilities. It was just about who was cool or not.
Yeah, either way it hurts, Ashley. Being picked, it doesn't really matter. That doesn't help.
Oh, yeah, Ashley, it's not always 100% about who's going to score you the most goals or get you the most touchdowns.
Usually it's your buddies first.
It's usually you take your cool-ass buddy so you guys can joke around and be jagoffs. Hurtful to be picked last. Let me give you a heads up on what the social media folks have been going back and forth about, because it's cute. What are examples, they say, what are examples of being picked last in gym class as an adult? Do you see what I'm saying to you?
Yeah.
What are some adult examples of being picked last in gym class? All right? I'm sure you can think of a couple right off the top of your head. How about getting invited out to be the designated driver? Oh, no.
I do have a sober friend and he always jokes. He goes, did you guys invite me because you want me here, or did you invite me for a ride?
Well, I remember I was pretty excited. One of my neighbors hosts a poker night, right? And he invited me, and I thought, wow, that's so cool. And people are saying, well, dude, it's because he knows you've played it once and have no idea how to play. They're looking for some easy money.
Yeah, we call you dead money, Josh.
Oh, is that it?
Yep, dead money.
Man, did that hurt. Like, I thought I was one of the guys.
Yeah, look at me hanging out with the bros.
Nope, they just wanted my money.
No, I've never.
Joke's on them. I don't have any.
Doesn't have any. I've never experienced that, getting invited out to be the designated driver. That sucks.
My friends know me better than that.
You know, I can't say that back in high school we didn't do that. If we knew there was a kid who wasn't a big drinker, I can't say that we never included them for that very reason. But then again, at the same time, we didn't really pay much attention to drunk driving back in those days. We didn't. Sadly.
Yeah.
Stupidly, we didn't.
I thought it was pretty cool once. There's a local band that used to hang out here quite a bit. Good friends with our promotions director at the time. Played a few of our shows. And one of the guys, the bass player, he's like, hey, how would you like to come to a party we're hosting? And I thought, wow, I would absolutely love that. That's great. But what he wanted me to do was to operate the stereo. So I wasn't invited like as a friend. It was just to run the stereo.
Sucks.
He was kind of a dick.
If you are, and I know a couple guys who play this role, and I'll give you all the credit in the world. I find it so difficult to be sober and hanging around drunk people.
It's my least favorite thing in the world.
So difficult. If you can do that, you're a special person.
Oh, I don't know. I think you just get used to it. I mean, that's my situation, right? For no real reason. I just don't drink very often.
Well, okay. So you'd say you just get, at first it bothered you, but now you're used to it?
It's just always been that way. So no, I could see how it would. There's certainly, there's a few people where you think, oh, here we go.
I hate it.
Do you really?
Yeah, I do too.
Maybe
it's awful.
you're right. I'm sure you're right that I would get used to it.
How about your brother? Your brother's sober now. How does he handle it?
Fine.
Yeah, it's probably just being used to it because he's been sober for a very long time. As long as I've known him.
25 years. You don't hear me dump a lot of compliments on him, my brother. But I'll give him all the credit in the world. He can completely, comfortably, happily be a sober guy around a bunch of drunk morons. I can't stand the noise. I can't stand the stupid jokes. I can't stand the constant repeating that happens.
I was going to say that for me, either the guy that's just so over the top, wants to be the super funny guy and does ridiculous stuff that's going to get you in trouble, that's annoying. That I would say that's pretty infrequent. But the repeated jokes as if you didn't hear it the first time,
right,
that can get annoying.
And I'm sure I'm guilty of that when I am drunk. When I am sober, and when I'm drunk, I don't notice it. When I'm sober, I notice every little friggin' detail, and I want to murder these people. If you're a sober person that can hang around drunks, by damn.
No, there's
you are special.
A few people are texting in the same thing. The same situation, an example of being picked last in gym class, but as an adult, as if we have some experience. How about not getting invited to your coworker's wedding until other more important people drop out? I wonder what that would feel like. Gosh, what would that feel like?
The three of you wouldn't know.
No, we certainly wouldn't.
All right, tell me if you've experienced this. Friends How many of us have them? Sing it, Cubby.
Friends.
Friends wanting a group photo together. And then they hand you the phone or camera. Friends wanting a group photo. Would you take this for us?
I'd be happy to not be in a photo and do that.
But what if it was like you're together with your 5-6 closest high school buddies? Hey, it's great that we're all together finally after all these years. Let's get a picture. Hey, Josh, take this picture.
That would be so rude. I can't imagine that happening.
People talking about party plans in front of you, but not inviting you. What's this? Donnie's house? What time? Hey, how come no one wants to tell me what time we're gathering at Donnie's house?
Don't do that. Don't talk about plans in front of people that they're not invited to.
Or if you're sitting on the couch watching a game by yourself, maybe on a Friday or Saturday night, and then you see on social media that all your friends are gathered at a bar watching that same game, and you're just,
Or they call you and you hear the noise in the background. They're at a friggin' house party. You're at a bar with 10, 12 people. Yep. Are you watching this game? Well, yeah, I'm at home alone. You could have called me.
Thanks for the invite.
Pest Control Jesus had a friend who invited him to the movies because he had an extra ticket. He was super excited to go and then found out after the movie that he was his fourth choice. The third choice was his dad.
Oh! I'm below your friggin' dad?
No! Oh, no.
I'll tell you what, I did flip out once in high school because one of my buddies who never had parties had one. Well, it wasn't like a Friday or Saturday night thing. It was a weeknight gathering, drinking beer on a weeknight, on a school night. And I didn't get a phone call. It wasn't huge. Only 5-6 other people got called. Hey, come over, let's drink some beer here on a school night. But I didn't get called. And what pissed me off was me and my brother's place where we grew up was the most lawless house in town. You could come over there anytime, drink beer, smoke cigarettes, chew tobacco, fall asleep on the couch. Our house was lawless, and this buddy of mine was always over at our house. And the one time he has people over, he didn't call me. The next day in school, I laid into this peckerhead like I was on cocaine or something. I went after this guy, you prick bastard. In the end, we made up, but that offended me. We always had parties, always had people over. If you got kicked out of your house, you could come to our house. And my folks, mom, dad would say, yeah, go ahead, sleep on the couch. But this bastard, I was a little, when you're a kid, that means something to you.
Yeah, I could see that being hurtful. By the way, and I want to apologize. I shared the story about being very excited to be invited to my first ever poker night with one of my neighbors who throws this party, and it seems like everybody's having fun, camaraderie, being one of the boys. And then somebody had ruined it for me and said, well, they want to take your money. They know you're a sucker. Now, a few people are texting in saying, oh, no, they were in the same spot, and they just found out they were the sucker at that point. Yeah. I'm sorry to do that to you. I know how much it sucked when I found that out.
There has to be one.
I didn't mean to put that on anybody else.
Opening people's eyes to some of the hurtful things that they never noticed in the first place.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Okay, again, this conversation is adult examples of being picked last in gym class.
I just thought of a great one that happened to me at the Metrodome. It's about 20, 21 years old. It was a student night game for a Twins game, the upper deck. It was $5 tickets, $2, beer, whatever it was, and 5 or 6, 7, 8 rows in front of me, I see an old bro from high school, a guy I hadn't seen since we graduated. We're good pals. I'm like, oh, man, Sam's here. I nudged my buddy. Is that Sam? Yeah, that's Sam. So I pull up my cell phone because it was so loud in there, and I call him. I'm like, oh, he's going to be so surprised. I'm going to wave, hey, look behind you. I see him. He pulls his cell phone out of his pocket, looks at it. No, just puts it right back in the pocket.
I don't do that for that a fear of that reason, like watching somebody do that.
Oh, it's so devastating.
All right, Jacob texted. It took me a second to understand this, but this is good. How about when the wife tries to reassure you about your penis size by saying, hey, you know what? At least you're bigger than all your friends.
Oh.
That's got to be a hey moment.
All right, some of these are very similar. Just change the situation very slightly. Everyone going out for lunch at work but not asking you to join, finding out that your friends went out of town without calling or texting you. Or when your friend who lives out of town comes back for a few days and doesn't bother to tell you.
Yeah, especially if you think you're close.
Yep. being sat at the randoms table at a wedding. I guess I've never noticed what the label is, what the, I'm missing a word, what the...
I wouldn't know what association was. Why would just assume, the people that all know each other go in certain tables, and if you don't know each other, you go in a different one.
You shouldn't let that bother you, because for the most part, it's because it can be because you don't have a plus one, somebody else with you. So there was an extra table at my wedding where, like, the people that didn't have a plus one.
Yeah, a little singles mixer.
Yeah, I was like, there you go. You can be friends with each other.
Sure, that makes sense. I've never sat down at a wedding and thought, oh, I'm at the this table or the that table.
I haven't either.
I didn't know that was a thing.
I wouldn't want to be sat at the table with all the aunts or the uncles or a big friend group that I didn't know. That would suck.
I'm hoping that no family shows up, actually, Ashley. Here are a few more examples. We talked about, getting invited out, but you're the designated driver. Friends want a group picture together. They hand you the friggin' camera. Hilarious. People talking about party plans in front of you but not inviting you. All right, how about this? Oh, wow. This is an interesting one. Really is. I wouldn't think much of this. It says here, when you're the one who always has to drop behind when the path is too narrow for 3 people or 4 people or 5. Do you see what I'm saying?
I never would have thought of that, but yeah, that's true.
I'm that guy.
You are that guy?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's surprising because you walk fast.
You're a fast walker, very pigeon-toed.
Yeah, I am. And duck-toed.
So you don't end up walking shoulder to shoulder with the friends. You drop behind.
Yeah, if somebody's coming the other way and we got to thin the herd a little bit, I'll drop behind.
They merge in front of you and leave you. Well, that's not right.
This is a good one. And it's funny that this comes up from Millennial Steel Cutter Jesus, because I just had this thought last night. I was at the Wild game with my family, and I noticed, like, the young people in my life, they've got all these group texts that they're a part of, and I'm only a part of one, and that's with you guys.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you're the only group text that I have. Huh. And so he said, he thought of one here, Millennial Steel Cutter Jesus. When your friends have a group chat together and you're not in it, and then find out about it.
That would suck.
That would absolutely
if you're a younger person, maybe you're sensitive to that kind of a thing. Sure.
Is everyone in a bunch of group chats?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Well, I've got...
They fire off nonstop all day.
Oh, that might be annoying.
No, I love it.
It's a lot of work. That stuff is a lot of work.
You can just turn notifications off, Josh. It helps.
Just with you guys.
Cubby, no one ate your dish at the potluck. That's another...
I always eat a little everything for that reason. Just to make sure nobody thinks, well,
that's so nice of
I
you.
wasted a couple hours here.
You don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, but I guess that's another adult version of being picked last in gym class. Nobody eats what you brought to the stinking potluck.
Ashley, your pasta salad's bomb, though. I bet that goes quick everywhere.
Thank you. Yeah, I try to make the fan favorites when I do a potluck.
That's for
because
sure.
that would absolutely break my heart if people didn't eat my food.
Yeah, the potluck isn't the time to get cocky with the recipe.
You know what else hurts the feelings of some adults? When you've met someone multiple times and they still say, hey, nice to meet you.
Oh, I'm so bad at this because I recognize faces more than names. And I hate when I forget somebody's name because then they make it seem like I just don't remember meeting them. Oh, I hate that.
That's why you never say it's nice to meet you. You always say it's nice to see you.
Oh, that's so smart. This just happened to me 2 days ago. I shook this guy's hand. And I was like, oh, yeah, I'm Ashley. It's nice to meet you. He's like, yeah, we've met before. Darn it.
How about this? This recently happened to me where I gave a very enthusiastic greeting to somebody who I thought was somebody else.
Oh.
I had never met that person. Oh, no. I think I really weirded them out. It was a spinning image of somebody else I knew, and I was very enthusiastic.
We've all been there.
Here's a few takes now from our beautiful listening audience. The little hurtful things that happen as adults, it kind of feels similar to when you're picked last in gym class. Pizza crust Jesus. This is a cool one. A cool one, that's not the right way to put it. This is very unique, very unique. How about not getting inviting isn't... How about not getting invited to your best friend's wedding because your ex-wife won the couple in a divorce?
Oh, man.
Oh, that sucks for you.
Does he mean what I think he means, where, his wife said, hey, look, you're not hanging out with these two anymore. They're mine.
Oh, I just assumed that the friends picked the wife.
That's what I was assuming, too. Yeah, the friends chose the wife over him.
Yep.
Oh.
But maybe not. Maybe I...
Okay.
Yeah, it's usually the friends call.
Okay.
I was undefeated in my divorce, by the way.
Were you?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I would be all defeated. My wife would be picked by everybody, for sure.
That's an interesting one. So it's your best friend, but they picked your ex over you. Okay, now I'm following this.
So, how about this one? This one would suck. My wife, this person says, my wife has a fairly big family. She asked her 4 brothers if they should all go to the fair. No reply, but then found out the rest of the family went and they weren't included.
Oh.
It was her idea.
What the heck?
Oh, man.
Being picked to be in a porno video, but you're the husband that leaves for work.
My big break.
The clothes never come off.
I mentioned earlier, I'm impressed by sober people because this came into play, right? People invite you out, but then they want you to be the designated driver. Oh, great. That's all I'm good for, is to drive you drunks around. And I mentioned earlier, I'm impressed by sober people who can hang out with drunks. I can't do it. I hate it. And I instantly want out of that situation. Here's a listener who texted in and said he's got a buddy who quit drinking a couple of years ago. He still hangs out, but tends to tap out a whole lot earlier than he used to. Yeah, because he knows what's coming. He knows what's coming. It's going to get louder. The stories are going to get stupider. Midnight Pickle Jesus says this. Hey, can't be the designated driver if you show up drunk.
There you go.
Well, I know a guy who bought a pickup truck that didn't have a back seat simply so he wouldn't have to be a designated driver or give people rides around town.
So no one would ask me to be a designated driver.
Brilliant.
My dad always gave me that advice. He said, if you ever buy a truck, make sure that it doesn't have a really big bed and that it just has a bench seat.
I had a 4-door pickup there, Cubby, for about 3 years, and those were 3 very nerve-wracking years. I kept waiting for that phone call where we were all going to go somewhere, and they'd say, well, you've got a big vehicle.
Yep.
I hate driving, especially. One more here. Calibration, Jesus, as far as getting your feelings hurt as an adult, kind of like gym class when you get picked last. How about when you hear this, Josh? Sure, you can come too. I mean, if you want.
I mean, I know you're super busy.
Yeah.
And you probably have other things going on.
I've been guilty of using that line before, but not on purpose, just because that was just the way to say it, I guess. And I've corrected myself. Now I say, yeah, I want you to come. You should be there.
Oh, no, now I'm going to realize that once you... Is that with your baby shower when you said that to me? Do you really mean just send a gift, don't show up? You don't want to?
No, that's more like, I don't want to make you guys go to Coon Rapids if you don't want to.
Nobody wants to go to Coon Rapids. Thank you very much for your text. You made this subject even more fun than it had the potential to be. Our listening audience, always great with the text messages. We appreciate that.
Yeah, I appreciate the vulnerability. I love that.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
I'm right there with you.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Well, if it isn't our wonderful podcast listeners, the ones that all of us on Hams love the most. Dana here to give you a little gentle reminder to hit up our friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning and tune up that AC before it fully turns into crotch soup season. June through August are Standard's busy season for getting AC units up to snuff, so get ahead of the curve and have them ensure you don't have a summer where you pit out every shirt you own. Book in May during their pre-summer heat savings event, and you'll beat the rush and save yourself some walking around money. Call Standard Heating today or visit standardheating.com. Enjoy the show. We sincerely appreciate you checking us out each and every day.
Looking for a degree program that rewards you for what you already know? At WGU, all of our bachelor's and master's programs are competency-based, allowing you to progress at your own pace. Washingtonians know how valuable time and money are, and so do we. At WGU, your hard work and experience can help you finish your degree faster and for less. Join a community of driven professionals from across the DMV who are unlocking new career opportunities today. See how your knowledge can give you an edge at wgu.edu.
Actor Michael Rosenbaum. He knows some of the most talented people in the business.
Will Wheaton is here. I'm getting ready to do this podcast. I text my Star Trek family. That is a supernatural impulse.
If you're here for Jay Moore, you found the right place.
Have you always had a large personality?
The nicest way anybody's ever put it.
You always warn people out.
From Twilight, Ashley Green.
We were just like, no one's going to see this. This is not going to be a good movie.
I really love the movies.
Don't feel bad.
The Inside of You podcast. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Half-assed Morning Show. 93X.
Idly ho, neighborinos.
93X.
Half-assed Morning Show.
What's going on over there on Twitter? What am I missing? Any political conversations?
That's pretty much all it is these days.
Yeah.
A small dose of negativity here and there?
A little bit.
Little bit, yeah, but you can say you're not interested in that stuff, so it doesn't show up as much.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, you can filter it out as much as you can.
Have you tried it yet, Josh?
When it first came out, I did, simply because I was told we had to around here. And
I missed that speech.
Well, you probably heard it, but it went right out in one ear and out the other. I did for a little bit, but I followed just like a lot of tech stuff.
Oh, technical.
Yeah, that like how do they use this or do that or this is new, that kind of thing. And then after a while, like you said, it just got so political that it didn't appeal to me as much anymore.
I'm say uninterested to all that tech stuff.
To the tech stuff?
Yeah, I'm like, boring.
I like the boring stuff. Yeah, I'm not on, outside of LinkedIn, I'm not on anything.
I love it when you give the rundown of all the Rock and Roll Hall of Famers that are your friends on LinkedIn or whatever the term is.
I reach out like a dork, and I can't believe that they get back to me. Jesse James Dupree, recently of Jackal, and I connected.
Dude.
He's such a good guy.
All right, he was cool out in the casino last year.
Oh, he is such a nice person.
Yeah, that was unbelievable.
Please, God, don't text in anything terrible he's done that I'm not aware of. I don't want that image to be ruined, but he's always been so good.
Let's see where we can go with this Twitter conversation. People on Twitter answered this question. Name a behavior that isn't labeled as a form of mental illness, but you feel like it should be.
I love this.
Well, I think, people who are way overly passionate about politics. I mean, it's good that you care.
I rang the bell before you even got there because I knew where the hell you were going.
Yeah, I mean, and some of it is just, to me, is, I know people who were never political and all of a sudden they're the political expert. And I can't figure out this dramatic change. Yeah, go ahead. Get into politics. Make your voice heard. But some people that's all they are anymore, it's kind of scary.
Drives me nuts.
Definitely.
Scary. Add any other term to it. And that's in here, Josh. Name a behavior that isn't labeled as a form of mental illness, but you feel like it should be. Making politics your identity. Here's some of the others behaviors that are mentioned. Co-parenting a pet with your ex.
Yeah, that is crazy.
A very nice couple who I knew, this is a long time ago, 15, 16 years ago. They weren't married, but they lived together for a long time.
Yeah.
And they broke up, and they co-parented a dog.
No.
And I'd never heard of that before.
If you break up, one person gets the pet, and that's the end of it.
And they hated each other. I mean, our newest dog is, from what you just said, Ashley, was a husband and wife. Sadly, they get divorced, and they give up the dog.
This couple hated each other.
Oh, yeah. They despised each other.
But they still had to see each other every weekend when they'd trade the dog back and forth.
Yeah.
I know it sucks, but the dog will forget about one of you, and that's okay.
When I got divorced, we had a dog, and we didn't do the co-parenting thing like every other week, but I would help out when needed. I'd pop over if I needed to let her out, or my ex was going out of town for the weekend, she'd drop the dog off, I'd take care of it. But it's not like we did all right, this is my week with Tori Joe now type of thing.
I had a buddy that him and his ex had a dog together, and when they broke up, he would bring the dog over to her parents' house because the parents would miss the dog. I was like, dude,
oh, man.
Come on.
Well, I had only heard of this recently too, Josh. Co-parenting a pet with your ex to where you schedule, all right, I'll have the dog this day and this day, then can I take the dog to the zoo today? Well, no, I had plans. I had plans with the dog today. I was going to take it to that seems a little odd. I mean, like Ashley said, yes, it sucks, But that pet is probably better off just staying with one of yous.
That would be kind of weird. I was trying to think, like, if I started dating someone and my wife won't allow it. I've brought it up numerous times. She will not allow it. And she's like, yeah, I got to go see my ex who I can't stand. We're sharing the salamander. It's his week. I might think, well, that's odd. I would wonder, are you guys making an excuse to stay in each other's lives?
I would wonder the same thing. That's great.
Because, Ashley, you're the biggest pet lover I've ever met. Yep. And if you're willing to say, well, you might have to just give the dog to this person, that says something.
Yeah, you say that, but how easily would, let's say you and your current fiance, something terrible happens, you split up. You'd fight, you'd go to court, I bet, to keep custody of at least one of those dogs.
Well, 2 of them are just mine. I came into the relationship with them.
But what if he stepped forward and said, yeah, well, it's been my paycheck that's been feeding and caring for these dogs for all these years?
Oh, I'd kill him.
Okay, you'd kill him.
Yeah, I'd simply just kill him.
Are there some of these situations? Well, this is a stupid question because in today's society, everyone sues everyone upside down for the stupidest thing. So I'm sure there are pet custody cases that go to court.
Oh, there are. Yeah, I've definitely read about those.
Yeah.
Riddle of Steel Jesus said co-parenting a pet has a lot to do with spite. I never considered that aspect.
Absolutely. I'm upset with myself that I didn't consider that. Absolutely spite.
Oh, I wonder what the percentage is.
You love that cat so much? Well, guess what? He's mine now because I'm the one who's cared for him. I'm the one who's paid the bills. Sure.
Yeah, they might not have any interest otherwise than just to screw the other person over.
I know this is going to sound mean, but ooh, I want you and your fiance to break up now. I do. And I want him to say, all these dogs are mine because I'm the one who's done this and I'm the one who's done that.
That would have to be out of pure hatred because he would totally be fine being like, yeah, take your 2 dogs. They're the problem dogs. So
my dog's the good one.
Landscaper Jesus said, if they're still co-parenting the dog, that means the foot is still in the door. He's seen it too many times. Yeah, I wonder that too.
Mountain Mayhem Jesus says, man, how great are those dogs' Christmases?
Oh, my gosh.
I would never cheer for a family to be broken up by divorce, but I do remember, like, kids whose parents were divorced, Christmas was awesome for them, especially the first couple of years because each one's trying to be the cooler parent.
See, my brother and sister and I, we didn't have that situation.
Yeah, it didn't work for you guys?
No, there was no competing over who could wow the children.
There was a moment in my life where I thought, God, maybe if my parents broke up, Christmas would be pretty sweet around
We didn't have that situation. Our parents really didn't care for us very much. They didn't really care for us much. Didn't really matter. All right. Another behavior, according to Twitter, that isn't labeled as a form of mental illness, but maybe it should be. I know very little about this kind of thing because I'm not on social media. Having an Instagram for your baby or pet, okay, and I see what they mean now, and posting in the first person. So you have a little picture of your baby, and the baby says, "Hi everyone, I went to the park today." Right? You see what I'm saying?
I think that's kind of cute, actually.
I do know some people that.
Do you really, Josh?
Yeah, I mean, there's some that got real popular. What was that fat cat? That was crazy popular.
Grumpy Cat?
Yeah, Grumpy Cat.
Mm-hmm.
Was that the gist there?
Yeah, it was just the cat looked pissed off and posted photos of it and made millions of dollars.
Yeah,
I like the pet ones.
But did they have quotes where Grumpy Cat was saying, "I took a poop in my box today and my mommy and daddy love me"?
Did they do that as well?
I never followed the cat, to be honest with you. I just know of it.
Because I think that's a big difference. If you've got a funny looking kid or a funny looking animal and you make them into a character on social media and everyone thinks it's funny and fun, great. But I do think it's a little creepy when you have the little fake quotes from the infant baby or the little puppy. You know what I'm saying?
It depends on how good they are.
Yeah, the baby ones would be weird, but I do follow some dog ones I think are pretty funny and pretty cute.
Does the dog ever say, "I got a terrible beating today"?
Well, there's some where they do the voiceover for the dog, as if the dog is narrating. what it did that
Okay,
day.
I love those videos.
I do too,
those are
actually.
hilarious.
Good boy Ollie and Taylor. I love them.
Yeah, I forgot about those videos. Those are great.
Now, some people say, I've heard this said, get your friggin' babies and your kids off the internet. What are you doing?
That's how I feel about my family. You go ahead and do it how you want to do it, but I don't like the photos and stuff out there. My wife feels quite differently, and she wins that argument constantly.
Yeah, sometimes, Josh, I inform you what your kid is up to based on photos I see on Facebook that your wife posted.
That's true. Some people say, hey, I saw your wife did this. I'm like, what are you talking? She did? What do you mean? And then you'll mention, I was on Facebook or whatever she's on.
Yeah, Ashley, you wouldn't like that if you were looking at the pet speaking in the first person like a human being. You wouldn't like that if the pet was looking into the camera and it said, I got run over by a kid on an e-bike today.
Surgery was fun.
Yeah.
5 stars all the way.
They gave me a lot of treats after surgery. Yay!
No.
Yeah, on a Tuesday. I'm getting neutered tomorrow. Wednesday.
Oh.
Well, the neutering happened this morning. There go my dog balls.
I would love that.
All right, well.
People love Good Boy Ollie.
Yeah,
He
Good
started
Boy Ollie
something.
rules.
Who's Good Boy Ollie?
I'm going to have to look that up.
Oh, he's a good boy. And he has a younger brother named Tato that can be a little mischievous sometimes.
Yes, he can.
Do they talk?
Yes, they do voiceovers for the dogs.
Voiceovers?
Yeah.
I think you
Give
would
me
like...
a friggin' break.
Oh, it's
No,
fun.
there's some videos that I think you'd be a fan of, Nick.
Well, do they
Is there
get
one
kind of...
that you recommend?
Not off the top of my head. I'd have to go through my videos.
Oh, I love it. Every Christmas they do the advent calendar and go through and do a different Christmas activity each day.
I just thought of something. My wife watches one of these Instagram channels or whatever it is with a talking cat.
Cute. I'm Officer Good Boy.
Is this the right one? Ashley?
What?
Yes, it is.
They did put a police hat on top of a dog, and now
Sure
he's
did.
Officer Good Boy.
Oh, like you don't want to see a dog with a police hat on.
And he's got an intern, Officer Raptor, and it's their first day on the force. They're not saying anything.
If my wife is listening, she needs to text me and tell me the name of that cat that you watch videos where the cat talks. And
Does the cat love lasagna? If so, I can answer that
No,
question.
it's not that.
Hates Mondays.
Hello,
Oh, yeah.
I am Ollie the Good Gardening Boy, and I'd like to show you my garden. First we'll visit my pretty flowers. I grew them all by myself. There are so many different types. But the purple ones are extra funny looking this year. Don't worry about the patchy grass. It doesn't appreciate all the vitamin P.
Boy, he really peed that grass down.
Oh, that's Good Boy Ollie.
That sounds miserable.
It's so peaceful and calming. I really enjoy it.
All right, here's what we've been talking about. This is a route we found ourselves going down. We had Twitter started a conversation. They had a question. Name a behavior that isn't labeled as a form of mental illness, but you feel like it should be. And one of the behaviors listed here is having an Instagram for your baby or pet and posting in the first person. Little quotes. Tiny little baby, but he's saying something. He's got a quote there, right? And then you guys told me that they even have some of these pet videos where a pet is walking around and they... What's the word I'm looking for, Josh? They superimpose a voice? What's the word I'm looking for?
Put a voiceover.
They put a voiceover in. And so you're telling me that's a character called Good Boy Ollie, and he has an English accent?
He does.
And he narrates everything he does. He walks around the yard. And you can watch this without falling unconscious and then waking up strangling a random animal?
When I was like you when I first heard about them. My wife introduced me to them. We newly started dating, and I'd watch like, oh, okay, yeah, dog video, and I'd pretend like I enjoyed it. But then I found myself looking up these videos and watching them, and I enjoy them thoroughly.
I think I would fall unconscious and then wake up with a strange animal in my grasp.
I like the videos where the dogs are like smart asses. I think you would like those.
I think I would fall into some kind of a psychopathic rage, Josh.
I can tell you they're popular via text here. Everyone knows who Ollie is, it appears. I'd never heard of him until you brought him up.
So wholesome.
By the way, I was saying that my wife locks isn't a word. My wife likes to watch a certain cat video where the cat speaks. I couldn't think of the character's name, but many of you texted in, and you're correct. It's Penny. Any of you heard of Penny?
No.
She's a cat, and she likes ham.
Are there voice actors?
Yes.
Or maybe the computer, like with Ollie?
I think there's voice actors. That's right. Thank you. What did I say her name was? Penny. All right. Some of these other behaviors that Twitter says are not labeled as a form of mental illness, but you feel like it should be. Being obsessed with celebrities' lives. A lot of us have that problem these days.
That's great. Yeah, they call them the stands.
Mm-hmm. Stands.
Yep.
And that is...
I believe,
like a
correct me if I'm
fan,
wrong,
right?
but yeah, I
Super.
believe it has a connection to the Eminem song.
Yeah, I thought that's how it kind of got popular, or maybe that's where it started.
Eminem had a song on the Marshall Mathers LP called Stan that was about a psychotic, overly obsessed fan. And then that people just kind of co-opted that to name, if you're obsessed with something, you're a stan
so
for that.
STANS. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay.
Some of the worst I see are Ariana Grande or Taylor Swift, Harry Styles. Those kind of scare me. Like, I'm scared to even say that out loud.
They go after people.
You just read all of my tattoos. I have each of those tattooed on me.
Do you have the same tattoos that they have, Josh?
Can you imagine how creepy that would be?
creepy.
It happens.
It does.
Barefooted Jeep Hair Jesus has texted in to say that good boy Ollie is crazy boring, but still a good boy. Here's another behavior that maybe should be labeled as a mental illness. If you ask the folks who hang out on Twitter, saying someone does something because of their astrological sign.
Oh, yeah. I've been noticing this more and more because I'll tell people that my son is due in August, and they're like, "Oh, he's a Leo." I don't know what that means.
That's funny because over the weekend somebody said I heard somebody, we were at a dinner and I heard somebody say to someone else, "Oh, you are such a Scorpio."
Mm-hmm. That is such Taurus behavior.
Yeah, I didn't know fully what that meant.
It's kind of like the political people. It's their first move. Anything that you say or do, they think is based on your astrological sign, just like there's a lot of overly political people who think every word that comes out of your mouth, you are driven by your political choices.
Are we allowed to do that to get out of trouble? You know, whatever it is. Yeah, I ate your lunch, but I'm an Aries.
Right. Wearing too much weed gear, hats, shirt, socks, etc.
Yeah, that needs to chill out, especially if you're over the age of 18.
I'm trying to get better about wearing things that aren't just things I'm passionate about.
I'm proud of you, Dana.
I'm trying to grow up a little bit in that regard.
You got a Pabst Light hat on.
I do. I got this hat last week at a gig. I think it's a pretty bitchin' hat.
It is a bitchin' hat.
Yeah.
Some folks say this is a form of mental illness, breaking up and going back with the same person over and over and over and over again. You break up, you're together, you break up, you're together, you break up, you're together.
Yeah, I don't know if that'd
Wasted
be
your time.
a sign of mental illness, but yeah, I did that just one relationship, and I'm done with that. If the relationship's over, I'm just going to keep it that way.
Everyone's got to do it once.
Yeah, you look back, you're like, well, it didn't work the first, second, or third time, but the fourth, this is really going to be the one that sticks.
I remember people even saying that, giving me advice on it, and I thought, well, you just don't know us.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, so you're saying you were in one of those?
Just once, yeah.
How many times did you go back and forth, worthy?
4 times, maybe.
Really?
Yeah, you knew her. You knew her.
I did?
Yeah, very...
I don't remember that you ever were in that situation.
Yeah, she had a nun's name, if that helps you at all.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, that was... I knew her for a very long time, and it was 4 times, I think.
I remember her. I don't even know why the hell you went back the first time. Ashley just introduced us to this a couple days ago, being a Get Ready With Me content creator.
Yeah, I enjoy watching those videos sometimes, especially if they include cooking at any level. But when I do think about the fact that they have to set their camera up, hurry up and get back into bed, and then videotape themselves getting out of bed, and then they got to go set their camera up in the bathroom and then brush their teeth in front of the camera. I'm like, yeah, that is a little crazy, isn't it?
Well, let me ask you this about the Get Ready With Me content creators. Do they start in the nude?
Oh.
Honestly, I'm sure some of them do.
Time to pull on my panties now.
Maybe that's an OnlyFans thing.
Probably, yeah.
My son did something annoying yesterday, so he lost his phone. I took his phone from him. I'm just getting tired of something, and I'm like, all right, your phone's gone. What, you know? And he's like, oh, can I post real quick that my phone's taken away? I'm like, no, you don't need to make an announcement. Hey, just so you know, I'm not going to be available by phone. My dad has taken that away from me.
Oh, my gosh.
I thought, you know what? There's an extra day, a-hole.
He felt the need to give his fans an update?
Yeah, they had to know. Know his people.
His 4 followers.
A couple of our listeners say that over-the-top dance and pageant moms should be, what's the word I'm looking for, labeled as a mental illness.
Boy, somebody texts in you people who are way, way, way too into their kids' sports.
Oh, yeah.
You hear stories about that all the time.
Yeah, the over-the-top ones.
Calling yourself a plant mom or a plant dad?
I've never heard that.
Yeah, get a real, get a pet. Have a kid.
Oh,
that doesn't count.
We've killed a lot of our children then, if there's plant dads out there. My God, we cannot keep a plant alive.
Me either. I've tried so many times.
Orton Lover, she just said, what about people who make going to the gym their whole personality?
Yeah.
My mom makes everything in her life about her stupid Zumba class. Don't care! Those are her words, not mine.
All right, finally on this conversation of a behavior that isn't labeled as a form of mental illness, but you feel like it should be. One of our listeners texted in, furiously yelling at the radio announcers while in your car, like they can actually hear you.
Half-assed morning show.
Due to some sexual content, parental discretion is advised.
On 93X.
Josh, do you mind if I ask you something here? What do I have here for you? I know it's early. But I'm going to ask you to dig deep for your life partner. Would you dig deep for me?
For you, I would do anything.
You might have to think about this for a minute. Or maybe not. I don't know. It depends. Have you ever felt used?
Absolutely.
You have?
Yeah.
Explain. You tell us about what came to mind right away when I asked you the question, have you ever felt used?
Well, I'm a little nervous because it just happened, and the person's going to know who I'm talking about.
Have you ever been used for your body?
No, not at all. That's been disappointing.
You ever been used for your money?
No.
Oh, okay. Where were you
got to
going?
have that first. I said I would do anything for you, so I'm going to say it, even though this person, if they happen to be listening, they're going to know exactly who I'm talking about.
I'm guessing they're grown folks. They can handle it.
And I actually told you this off the air. I received a message from someone we knew a long time ago.
Oh, yeah.
And haven't talked to in, 10 years?
Probably more. I know who you're talking about, so I can help you out. Probably more than 10 years since you've communicated with this person.
Yeah, no bad feelings, nothing like that.
I don't know about that.
I know you're not a fan.
But didn't we all collectively kind of end on a bad note?
Oh, I don't remember. Did we? I forget that stuff so quick. Was it a bad note? Really?
I think we ended on a bad note. Okay, because I also know this person. Okay, yes, it's been more than 10 years, and they contacted you.
They did, and there was no real greeting. No, my gosh, it's been a while.
Right.
This person said fond memory. So I guess I don't remember but you're probably right?
When they contacted you recently for the first time in over a decade, they didn't say, well, hey, man, I've been missing you. I've been thinking about you. They didn't say any of that.
No.
What did they say?
Well, they wanted to impress a new girlfriend.
Uh-huh.
And so...
As if that's your problem.
Right. Well, hey,
right.
I'll help out. Whatever you need, I'll do my best. And requested perhaps the toughest ticket anybody could ever get. Looking for a concert ticket.
I love that. And not any concert, a real tough one.
No, one that I thought, I don't think I could get tickets if I was announcing the show. I don't know that would even be possible. I put in a request. They said, no. Are you crazy? You can't do that.
I can understand why you felt used in that moment. This person has not bothered to contact you for a long, long time for anything else, to check on your overall well-being or anything. But when they need concert tickets to try to wrangle a BJ out of a new girlfriend, they call you.
Honestly, though, I'd rather have that happen than when the person texts you and pretends that they're interested in what you got going on.
Right,
and
like they're catching up.
Yeah, and then asks for concert tickets.
Well, okay. I suppose if you
this was pointless?
if you can easily see through their comments and tell that they're not being sincere in asking how you're doing. Sure, I guess that. I see where you're going with that.
I told you before, I used to have a nickel bud, I would call him, because anytime Nickelback would come to town, he would strategically reach out maybe 2 weeks before the show. Bruh, we haven't seen each other forever. We got to get together. A week prior to the show, hey, I saw Nickelback's coming to town. How would a person acquire tickets to something like that?
I have no idea.
Is there a phone number?
Just generally
website?
speaking, how would someone acquire tickets to go see? How about in a romantic relationship? Have you ever felt used?
No. Well, there was one time, I don't know if I was being used because this was a longer relationship.
Yes.
And, again, we've lived our lives together longer than we haven't at this point, so you know all these stories.
It's true. We have lived our lives together longer than we've been apart.
There's a woman I was dating.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of on and off again for many years, right? And I'd say probably cumulatively about 6 years. And so she one time commented on the appearance of one of the worst people that has ever worked here, personality-wise, looks-wise, and it kind of seemed like she was done with me and wanted to move on to this person. And I remember thinking at first, well, you're obviously kidding because
oh God,
that person is so bad on the outside, but even worse on the inside, which seems like that would be impossible.
So unattractive in every possible way, this person. So in that moment, you felt as if maybe she was all along using you to get to this other douchebag.
I was wondering, not all along, because we knew each other in high school and stuff like that.
Oh.
But eventually I kind of thought, is she staying together with me to try and get a hookup? And I even said, hey, if you want to move on, that whatever you want to do. I don't want to be keeping you, holding you back here.
And when she announced an attraction to this other person,
I'll never forget where we were.
You were shocked.
I called you to say, what's happening here?
Right.
And it's not like, it wasn't a jealousy thing or whatever. I honestly didn't care. It's like, okay, if you want to break up, great. But I was just like, wait, that person?
Right.
I can't believe it. We were at the Mermaid in Mounds View.
The Mermaid?
We were maybe two, what was there, Scooby snacks into the night.
Yeah.
That was like the shots we always did there. And she brought this up, and I thought, well, there's no way. You're going to have to repeat that because you're not going to believe what I thought you just said.
Yeah.
But she meant it.
Of all the people.
Yeah.
Of all the people that your current, well, not current, of all the people that your girlfriend at the time could have announced an attraction to, I would have never bet on who she announced an attraction to because he
wouldn't even come to mind for
He was a disgusting person in every way.
This is a funny situation, but this isn't really being used. This kind of fits the conversation.
Yeah.
Just on Wednesday.
Yesterday.
Last Wednesday.
Oh, okay.
When I was at the airport with the family, we're getting ready to go to Boston. So we're sitting there. We had a big delay. We're getting a little schnookered there at the bar.
Schnookered.
And my son, Cam, his girlfriend, she said, oh, you know what? A coworker listens to 93X. And I said, oh, my boyfriend's stepdad works there, right? And he's like, oh, my gosh, that's something right there. Really? He works there, huh? What are the odds I could talk to him about something? And she's like, well, he's a nice guy, for sure, whatever you want. And so what I found out is he wanted to talk to me about how to meet Nick.
Sometimes being used is worth it. He wants to meet me, eh?
Somebody says, why are all these stories this morning about Ross? None of them are.
Not one of them.
Not one has been about Ross.
We're not afraid to sell him. We're not afraid to sell anybody out. But how do I put it? We don't like lawyers. I was just reading something or another. There are some people out there, and here I have to, I'll make this statement first. I'm sure this happens all the time. I have to admit I'm very naive on this subject. I would never suspect I'm being used in a romantic relationship.
There's nothing worth using me for.
That's part of it. That's part of it. But also, however I'm wired, I just would never consider that. Because I'm just naive to that type of thinking. Hey, I'm going to fake a liking to this person in order to gain something for myself. I would just never think that way. So I'm naive all the way around on this subject. But I was reading something or another. There are some people out there who will straight up admit that they 100% used someone in a romantic relationship. They became a couple and the whole works. Sexual organs were traded back and forth, everything that goes along with a romantic couple. That they straight up used their significant other in order to gain something. It's one thing, like Josh was explaining, for a low-life ex-coworker to call him after 15 years and say, "Can I get some tickets?" That's one thing. But to intentionally get yourself involved in a relationship, go out on dates, engage in sex acts with them, meet their friends and family, and your real goal is to gain money or whatever it might be. So where the hell did I put this? Here it is.
That's psychotic.
That's some real narcissistic behavior.
I agree. To go that far, I've definitely been afraid that I'm being used in numerous situations. I think it's more normal for women to feel that way because of sexual acts and such. And also I've had, especially when I was, the last time I was single, when I was dating.
Because of sexual acts.
When I was dating and I was using Hinge, it was pretty common after like the first date or two, actually sometimes the first date, that they were really excited to introduce me to their friends as the girl on the morning show. And
I've heard that before about myself.
I hated that.
Okay. So you've had a few occasions where you walked away from even everything from a brief relationship to a little bit of a longer relationship. We've walked away and said, for Christ's sake, that guy just wanted regular sex.
Yep.
Okay. I totally.
But most of the time, I'm like, whatever. I don't care.
What? Yeah.
Up at the crack of dawn, Jesus said he has a buddy who stayed with his girlfriend way too long so he could use her Netflix password.
Netflix password?
It's like $8 a month, man.
Not anymore.
You can have mine.
It is. That would be worth it now, Dana. It's like $30 a month.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Listen to some of these examples of people who openly admit to using a significant other. Got into a full-blown relationship and everything. Here's an individual. I don't know what this means. I dated a guy because he was a Michelin star chef.
That's a very fancy chef.
You know what? I get it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Michelin, I'm thinking tires, of course.
I think it's related in some way. Let me look that up.
But that's how they rank the highest chefs. If you're a Michelin star chef, you're in one of the fanciest restaurants in the world.
But it has something to do with the tire company?
I don't know. Before.
Oh, okay. I've never heard that said out loud before. So a lady says, I dated a guy just because he was an unbelievable chef. The food he made was amazing, but he was a total douche. But she dated the guy, boned him and everything because she could wake up and have a 5-star plate of biscuits and gravy. That's so friggin', like you said, Ashley, that's how an insane person thinks.
I would probably go out on maybe a couple dates with this guy for a nice meal, but I wouldn't dedicate any serious time to that.
And this guy's probably not a total moron. He probably walked away and said, for Christ's sake, she just did that for biscuits and gravy. You know what I mean? She only dated me for my biscuits and...
Can you teach me a few things?
Right.
I Googled it, and it says the Michelin Stars, prestigious culinary award awarded by the Michelin Tire Company.
All right.
By the way, Dana, people are wondering if you're still using your ex-wife's Netflix password.
No, I'm not.
You're all done with that?
No, yeah, that one's done.
How many streaming services do you use other people's passwords for?
Oh, me and my friends, we all just kind of share them. We split them. You know, somebody gets that one, somebody gets this one. We all just kind of pass them around.
Are you holding up your end of the bargain, or are you?
No, yeah, absolutely. What do I pay for? I pay for Peacock. I just got a notification about that yesterday, and there's one other one, I think Paramount Plus.
But you have pretty much all of them at this point?
Now, here is an individual who admits to dating a guy for a few years. A few years. Because he was a radio DJ and he could get her concert tickets and meet and greets.
You know, that's how it was back in the day. It's not that much. It's not really that way anymore. You know, it's not like before. It seemed like it was easy to get concert tickets. Meet and greets, not so much. I mean, that, at least in my experience, it wasn't super easy to do something like that.
It's a little different now. I mean, we are lucky. We can still usually get our hands on tickets to a lot of events that come to town or ball games and things like that. It's not quite as easy as it used to be, and I don't exactly know why. But like I said, I've considered myself very, very lucky over the years. So here we go. This gal dated this guy for a few years because he was a friggin' DJ, and she could get sweet concert tickets and meet and greets. She said the guy was insufferable, which makes sense.
She did say he's in radio.
He definitely carried a "don't you know who I am" vibe, which is just the worst. The worst, but yet the most common disease that radio people can catch quite easily.
Yeah, and I'll never understand that. Not in radio.
No, I never will.
I hate when people make a big deal out of it. I'm like, no. I am nothing.
Oh, for God's sake, Ashley, please don't say that about yourself.
I didn't mean it that seriously. Sorry. It sounds depressing.
Dated the guy for a few years. It is kind of funny, real quick on a side note, it is kind of funny how some people think we operate. We've mentioned before that I don't know how many times over the years, Josh, we've met listeners who assumed that we spent all day and all night together. Where I don't know how many times I fielded this question, where I'll be at a bar gig. Well, where's Josh?
Oh, I love those questions.
Where's Josh? Well, he's probably at home.
Sleeping?
Yeah. I don't know. Where's the rest of the morning show? I have absolutely no idea where anyone else is right now. But for whatever reason, there are some people who assume we constantly hang out together.
Yeah.
Hell no, we ended up killing each other. So it leads me to this story. I was dating a girl many, many years ago, and I used to have a lot of beer parties at my house back in those days. And my girlfriend at the time invited one of her friends to come to this beer party. So my girlfriend says to her friend, "Hey, do you want to come over to Nick's party tonight? He's having a beer party." And her girlfriend says, "Oh, wow. I'm up for a 93X party." And my girlfriend said, "What?" And her friend said, "Oh, I'd love to go to a 93X party." And she said, "No, it's his fellow loser high school friends. It's not like just because a guy that works in radio is having a party doesn't mean that the station vehicle is going to be there and we're giving away tickets to the Goo Goo Dolls and the overnight guy and the night lady and no, it's just a
big spotlight on the driveway flashing in the sky.
Special appearance by Andrew WK. No, it's just a party. Anyway, back to this topic real quick.
If Andrew WK was there, it would be a party.
Right.
Party. By the way, the brother and sisterhood, they know everything. Aside from being very attractive and hilarious, the Michelin thing started the ratings of these chefs so people would go on road trips more and say, "Oh, I'm going to go check out this restaurant. That chef works there. Oh, I put a lot of miles in my car. I'm going to need some new tires." That kind of thing.
That's amazing how people
Pretty genius.
That is.
Thank you for the info.
Real quick, we'll wrap this up. Feel free to text us if you, cold-blooded bastard that you are, if you've used someone, straight up used them. And what we're looking for is you were actually in a somewhat committed, normal, romantic relationship with them. I mean, we'll welcome all stories. Josh's story about being used, a couple times for concert tickets, those are great stories too, but I'm really drawn to the idea that someone would go through all of the regular routines that a couple goes through, but you're not even really interested in that person. You're just using them for something. Either way, 651-989-9393. Here is an individual who spent 6 months dating a trust fund baby just because we just brought that up a couple days ago, how great a trust fund baby I would have been. I spent 6 months dating a trust fund baby just because I wanted to see how the other half lived.
That's fair.
That would be pretty fun.
I bet that one's kind of common of these types of stories.
Yeah.
You might think, boy, there's a lot of fringe benefits dating this loser.
Maybe the oldest trick in the book, dating someone or marrying someone just for their friggin' money.
I guess I'm slightly guilty of this.
Uh-oh.
When I was dating, there was this guy, and he was all right, I guess. He did call me by the wrong name twice.
Ooh.
But he was doing his family was going up to this really fun cabin for a weekend. And I thought, this probably isn't going to go anywhere. I'm wasting my time here, but I really wanted to go and have fun at this cabin. So I stuck it out, and it was a really fun weekend.
But it was only for a weekend.
Right.
Yeah, and then it was over.
I'm not going to judge anyone for that.
I'm kind of guilty too, Ashley. There was a girl one summer I liked her. But I loved the fact that she had central air conditioning.
It was so comfortable over there.
Oh, yeah. And I lived in the dumpiest apartment with no air, not even a window unit. And it was it was summer 2011 or something. It was so hot. And I love that central air.
I can think of a couple with people I know. I've never knowingly done that. I'd rather just get out of the relationship. But one guy, this was one of the coldest, how do you say that?
I'm not sure.
Cold-bloody? I don't know what to say.
One of the most cold-blooded?
Cold-blooded, that's how you say it.
One of the most cold-blooded moves.
Thank you.
Yeah. We would have been here all day.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ashley.
You had trouble, too?
Yeah,
okay,
I had no idea.
It's our age. That would have came to me easier earlier in my life.
Yeah.
So I lived in an apartment building with my best friend at the time, and we shared a wall. I mean, we were right next to each other. We were at each other's apartments all the time, and he came over to my house one morning and eating a bowl of cereal. I'll never forget. And I was like, hey, what's going on? He's like, I think I'm going to break up with my girlfriend today. And they've been dating about a year. And I was like, I'm sorry to hear that. I know you guys were pretty good together for a while. He's like, nah, it's about time. He's like, I'm just kind of waiting for, she's cleaning my apartment and she's making lasagna. So as soon as she gets that done, I'm going to let her know. I thought, you couldn't break up with her before she puts in a hard day's work?
Oh, no.
He's going to get a clean apartment.
And he's one of the nicest guys I know, too.
And a big bucket of lasagna out of the deal before he gasses the relationship.
I would take the lasagna with me if I was her.
Yeah. And I know a guy, too, who wanted to break up with a girl, but they were a month away from just a vacation they'd planned a while ago. And he said he didn't want to lose the money. So he was non-refundable. He's like, hey, I'm going to Maui or wherever they were going.
Mm-hmm. Here's a gal who only dated a guy because he worked for the local NBA team. I dated him with hopes it might lead to me banging a player. Once I realized that was out of the cards, I dumped him.
Well, you can't hook me up with Mike Conley Jr., so you're out.
Right. My high school boyfriend was only my boyfriend because his parents bought him a Range Rover.
I bet that's common in high school for things like that. The kid who's got the cool house or something.
Or the kid who's 21 and, you're 20.
Oh, sure.
They can buy for you.
What a friggin' setup some of yous have out there.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Well, if it isn't our wonderful podcast listener, the ones that all of us on hams love the most. Dana here to give you a little gentle reminder to hit up our friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning and tune up that AC before it fully turns into crotch soup season. June through August are Standard's busy season for getting AC units up to snuff, so get ahead of the curve and have them ensure you don't have a summer where you pit out every shirt you own. Book in May during their pre-summer heat savings event, and you'll beat the rush and save yourself some walking around money. Call Standard Heating today or visit standardheating.com. Enjoy the show. We sincerely appreciate you checking us out each and every day.
Looking for a degree program that rewards you for what you already know? At WGU, all of our bachelor's and master's programs are competency-based, allowing you to progress at your own pace. Washingtonians know how valuable time and money are, and so do we. At WGU, your hard work and experience can help you finish your degree faster and for less. Join a community of driven professionals from across the DMV who are unlocking new career opportunities today. See how your knowledge can give you an edge at wgu.edu.
Nightly Scroll with Haley Carania.
I'm Haley Carania. I scroll with the homies here in the live chat, and I love my long scrolls on my phone at night. The show is literally called Nightly Scroll. My screen time has reached astronomical levels, but I do it to get all of the videos and all of the content that you won't find anywhere else. I don't want to be surrounded by an echo chamber, so I hope you join me. Someone just said the show is great. Keep it up. Thank you. I will.
Nightly Scroll with Haley Carania. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
By the way, I faked every orgasm.
93X. Half-Assed Morning Show.
Cubby, you know me, and you know that I do have an appreciation for a good scam. There are limits, but I have an appreciation for a good scam. And we're going to begin today's Stupid News Report with a keeper. It sounds familiar to me. I think we've covered this nonsense the last time it was being slung around the internet. This scam is extra special because not only does it make the scammer a hell of a lot of monies, which is the key to any good scam, this one is extra special because it's also wildly perverted. Really sick, twisted, perverted stuff. It's something called an orgasm retreat where women will be taught how to orgasm. All right?
You've changed, man.
Talk to me.
I remember a time when you didn't believe a female orgasm was real.
Yeah.
You've been convinced now at this point?
Yeah, but still, there's no way you're going to convince me that the don't tell me the word, I can't think of the word is, the environment. What's the word?
There is no such thing as an environment.
Environment. Yeah. I don't believe in the environment.
There is not an environment.
Everyone's always telling me that the environment is in trouble. I don't believe it's a real thing.
There is not an environment.
All right. An orgasm retreat. Of course, this idea comes from California. Ladies in our listening audience, all the organizers of this orgasm retreat want in trade is $15,000 of your hard-earned money. So, gals.
Oh, my gosh.
Gals, you could hand these hippies $15,000 so you can sit in a circle and play with yourself in front of a gang of 70-year-old women, or you can touch yourself at home for free while you watch old Patrick Swayze movies. Which way are you going to go?
I wonder if I really had difficulty there, and I kind of go the opposite way, to be honest with you.
You orgasm too easily?
A little too easily. I wonder if I'd get desperate enough where I would pay, $15,000. Okay, that's outrageous. But if I'd spend some serious, embarrassing money on it, if I just couldn't, and I really thought I could learn how.
I think, Josh, knowing you, I think if you just absolutely could not orgasm and you were at a point in your life where you still cared to, there is a point where you don't anymore.
Yeah.
I believe you would spend some money. I don't believe that you would spend this kind of money. I think you'd make an effort, but you'd be reasonable with it.
I guess maybe if I ever reach a point where a Patrick Swayze movie is no longer doing it for me,
right,
maybe I will shell out a couple of bucks.
Yeah, I mean, you don't need to spend $15,000. You just give me a $15 B-Dubs gift card. I'll show you a couple things.
I'd imagine.
It's really not that hard. I feel so bad for these women.
$15,000. Now, you've heard this kind of deep spiritual jibber-jabber before. The organizers of this orgasm retreat come off with lots of talk about connecting to your body, accessing your own erotic. I didn't mean to, I think I came off by saying neurotic. They talk about accessing your own erotic energy.
I've heard it's far more mental for women
Yeah.
than it is for gentlemen.
Absolutely. They're going to go on this retreat, and it's not going to happen anyway because they're putting too much pressure on it.
Oh, good call. Yeah, because I know a friend of mine, his wife is does not quite have the same libido she did when they first got married. But when they go on vacation and can relax and the kids aren't around and she's not worried about work, he said she becomes the woman that he married.
The woman of his dreams.
Yeah.
All right. Vacation sex is a little bit different than home sex, for sure.
Ladies, if when you sign up for this Jill-off getaway, expect to miss some work. They'll keep you out in the woods for a smooth week.
Oh, my gosh.
Here's the part where it's difficult to believe they can get away with this. Says here, during the retreat, the so-called sex educators use toys, tools, and their gloved hands to, quote, help women reconnect with their bodies and sexuality.
That's
otherwise
so
known
weird.
as penetration, is I think is what they're...
Yeah.
Gloved hand.
Don't some folks go to jail for this type of thing?
Yep.
Well, if you don't charge money for it, you might, right? Or if that's $15,000, they're paying for it.
Yeah.
If I pay $15,000, take that glove off.
Yeah.
I don't want that glove on.
Take that glove off and dip it in that bucket of petroleum jelly.
That just reminds me of going to the doctor. That's awful.
Now, don't get me wrong. I'm the last guy that's going to call the cops on these folks. If you want to make a daisy chain out in the woods, hell, good for you. I'm just fascinated how they can get away with this. Lord have mercy, listen to this. This sounds like a porno movie. At a past orgasm retreat, Ashley, close your eyes and picture this. All of us should close our eyes and picture this. At a past orgasm retreat, a 60-year-old gal...
Nope, I'm done.
Ageist.
My mom is that age. I thought of my mom right away, and I didn't like that.
CFH bass player Jesus has just texted in to say, the female orgasm, nature's Rubik's Cube. Ashley, see if you can get through this now.
Okay.
At a past orgasm, you've already left, but that's okay. Just chill out and hang out with the rest.
Come back.
At a past orgasm retreat, a 60-year-old gal
I'm out. Oh, sorry.
Well, I've lost two of you now?
Yeah, I didn't mean that. I forgot how old I am. I'm fine with that.
Who said she was, quote, sexually dormant after years of a sexless marriage.
I like how she phrased that.
She laid herself out on a massage table, and she was, quote, guided to a climax in front of the other women who were each waiting their turn.
This is like every masseuse porno that's out there.
Yes, it is.
What?
It is. The masseuse porno movies, this is how they all play out.
Yes, I didn't know they were based on real events.
So
wow.
These masseuse porno movies.
Yeah.
I can imagine what happens.
You can predict just about everything.
Is it something where the person getting which way does it go? Who's getting massaged, guy, girl, or does it vary?
Well, the ones that are the most popular, without question, is when the hot female goes to see the hot female masseuse.
Oh, I never even thought of that.
Yeah, there's no men anywhere near the hot masseuse porn. Yeah.
Is it a surprise for the person on the table? Or
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
it is.
Yep, they claim that.
And the masseuse usually says something like, look, I don't try this on everybody, but...
And then the one on the table's like, I don't know if we should be doing this. I don't know if I like it.
And then a third scorching hot female
They bring
walks
in a third?
Yes, and she says, I have a 9:15 appointment. What's taking so long? And then she gets, and it's just a mess. It's a mess. By the end, they need a mop.
Man.
Yeah.
You guys are living. 2 girls, huh?
Sometimes 3, 4.
Nice. And they filmed this. Thank God there's a camera in there.
Right.
Someone left their camera on. Another exercise. I told you that we were probably only going to get through a couple of stupid news stories here. Another exercise involved is called the art of adoration. And the women's are instructed to dress in something that makes them feel beautiful.
Well, a couple of the pictures I saw, these are sexy ladies. Or maybe those are the ones they put on the brochure. Oh, your face disagrees?
Well, I didn't see the same pictures you did, but I'm thinking that might have been doctored up.
Could be, yeah. I mean, those are the ones they put on the brochure, right?
I mean, when you see an ad for a touristy spot, come to Disneyland. I'll just use them as an example. What do they show in the ad? Just the happiest, most adorable, clean-cut families of all time skipping around the Disneyland property.
Mom, Dad, one boy, one girl.
Right. And they're gorgeous.
Of course.
When you really go there, it's a pack of derelicts, barely dressed, uglier than a bag full of...
Well, what do you think? This is what I was talking about. She does something for me.
She looks like a pretty lady.
Yeah.
I don't like the hat.
She has a terrible hat.
You got to wear a hat at orgasm camp, okay, Ashley? That's one of the rules.
You got to wear, but Ashley says,
I didn't even look that high.
We all know that you should wear a hat at an orgasm retreat. All Ashley's saying is wear the right hat.
If you look on their Instagram, that lady is all over the Instagram.
She might be one of the instructors.
Yeah, she run the joint?
There's this weird photo of her. You got to see this.
She's the one who puts that glove on her hand and burp. What am I looking?
She's like hiding behind a rock.
She's half naked hiding behind a rock. It looks like she's taking a piss in the woods.
What is that?
We're not even going to get through two stupid news stories.
This is fascinating.
This is good.
$15,000.
Again, this exercise I was telling you about, the art of adoration. The women are instructed to dress in something that makes them feel beautiful. And then they say, the instructors tell them, just lay down on the floor over here. And then the instructors say, let's just put this blindfold on you. And then they turn on some hippie music, and the sex educators touch their thighs and play with their hair, or graze their skin with various textures, like fur. Fur.
That's a nice feeling.
It is.
For those about to orgasm.
Yeah.
Never worn or touched fur outside of petting a dog or cat.
There was a movie called 40 Days, 40 Nights where Josh Hartnett gives a woman an orgasm just by using a feather.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Must have been one hell of a feather.
Here's another quote. I don't know why I said another.
From a cockatoo?
A cockatoo?
What kind of feather was it?
Oh, I don't know exactly.
Doesn't matter.
It's been years.
I thought maybe you were assuming I had a quote from a cockatoo. Here's a
Think
quote.
of a dirty bird name for that.
This is a lady who traded $15,000 to be molested in the woods. And she said this. And by the way, you have to drink every time she says sports car. Are you ready?
Yep.
Okay. Drink every time she says sports car. The gal said, it's like you've been walking around in this incredible sports car. Now, first off, let's dissect that statement. It's like you've been walking around inside this incredible sports car.
Yeah, sports cars are usually quite small.
Right. Okay. It's like you've been walking around in this incredible sports car that no one has driven correctly. And then suddenly, someone knows how to drive your sports car. And you realize that the sports car that the world has told you is too small or too big or too fat or too hairy or not enough was actually the perfect sports car all along.
It's beautiful.
Orgasm retreat, huh? You got it. That'll be $15,000.
That's just insane. Just look up a video on YouTube. Buy some toys.
I'd get kicked out for stupid jokes. Like after everyone left, I'd say, hey, thanks for coming, or I hope you're glad you came.
Son of a bitch.
93X Half-Assed Morning Show. 93X.
Well, if it isn't our wonderful podcast listener, the ones that all of us on Hams love the most. Dana here to give you a little gentle reminder to hit up our friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning and tune up that AC before it fully turns into crotch soup season. June through August are Standard's busy season for getting AC units up to snuff, so get ahead of the curve and have them ensure you don't have a summer where you pit out every shirt you own. Book in May during their pre-summer heat savings event, and you'll beat the rush and save yourself some walking around money. Call Standard Heating today or visit standardheating.com. Enjoy the show. We sincerely appreciate you checking us out each and every day.